ABC Sport.
On ABC Sport, this is the AFL.
Room to steady and finish.
It's close to the goal line and Marty good there. Another one.
Sit back, relax, witness the greatest. It don't get better than this.
Rampy from 55 and right all the way home. Huge fend off and kicks the goal. The skipper off a step finishes.
Take a seat, 'cause it don't get better than this.
Right foot strike. He's got it. Oh, the home fans like that. Takes a bounce, unguarded, goal square. He's got it. Reed's going to go for goal. Oh my goodness, that truly is remarkable.
This is the 2025 AFL Premiership season on ABC Sport.
Take a seat, 'cause it don't get better than this.
On radio, on digital, and on the ABC Listen app.
Yeah, take a seat, 'cause it don't get better than this.
If it's accepted in season 2025 that 14 wins will be required to play finals, Port Adelaide can't drop a single game between now and the end of the season. They do have West Coast, so this is one they'd certainly be eyeing off as a victory. And to make matters worse for the Eagles, as they roll into a venue where they've lost their past nine at an average of 68 points, mind you, they've also had some shocking news. Dreadful news for the football community, with one of their key players this year, Jack Graham, being ruled out for 4 weeks after a homophobic slur in the game against the Giants. So West Coast, who'd already had to make a number of changes, have had to make 2 more on top of Graham going out of this side. And good luck up against this Port Adelaide midfield for the West Coast Eagles. They've also lost Liam Ryan. He's out with soreness. So a total of 5 changes for West Coast for this game, though it does mean Williams gets a reprieve. He comes back into the side for the Eagles after being dropped. Ryan going out, which means into the team for the West Coast Eagles, is Noah Long. He comes in good form, Long, kicking 3 goals in the WAFL last week. And another one of the inclusions is one of the key players from West Coast at the start of the year, Matt Owies, who kicked 4 in the waffle last week as well. Couple of changes to mention too for Port Adelaide. No late ones though. Radigalia, Powell Pepper and Vicentini all out through injury. Lord, Liddy and Lorenz come back in. It's Long as the sub for the Eagles. Lorenz is a sub for Port. And this is a game the Power simply must win. Clint Wilden here at Adelaide Oval alongside Mark Soderstrom. Sodas, they've got to win this one, Port, and they should.
Well, they're trying to stay alive, Clint. There's no doubt about that. And if you saw last week against the Premiers, for the first bit of that first term, they actually looked all right. They held their own. And then Brisbane just opened the floodgates and poured on something like 5 goals in the last 6 minutes. And then Port were chasing tail the whole time. So a lot of speculation here about the future of the club and what's going to happen, who's Josh Carr going to keep, who's he going to move on. So it's fascinating, but you're right, they are playing for their life, no doubt about that, Clint.
Couple of big questions as we go into this game. Who do West Coast send to Mitch Georgiades? And how will the Eagles midfielder, who were ripped apart last week, the Eagles mids, cope with the likes of Butters and Horne-Francis? Let's get the thoughts of our experts. With a bounce not too far away, a big welcome to Josh Franco and to Dean Brogan. Gents, how does this play out?
Good afternoon, gentlemen. Oh, look, it seems pretty straightforward for Port Adelaide, doesn't it? Just listening to your intro with the Eagles, 5 changes. A lot of drama going on there at the moment. They've won, they've won 2 games for the year. 1 game for the year. So we know they're in a massive rebuilding phase. For Port Adelaide, they haven't been short without any drama either this year. They've had drama most weeks with them, but since the bye, 5-6 weeks ago, they've actually been pretty good. They're moving the ball a lot better by foot. They're going a lot quicker. And Mitch Georgiades is having a career year, 3rd in the Coleman. But you would think today Port's midfield should be too strong for West Coast. But as we know, Josh, Port have been known to throw a lemon in there every now and then, and is today that day?
Yeah, and good afternoon, everyone. Terrific day here at Adelaide Oval for footy here in South Australia. Perfect conditions. It's interesting sitting down, doing a bit of homework on this game, and I apologise in advance to these West Coast supporters that are tuning into the ABC. I just can't mount a case for them. The only thing I think that's going to stop Port Adelaide running away with this convincingly is complacency. I look at the midfield battle. You've mentioned that. West Coast lose Jack Graham, and Port Adelaide's midfield at its best is unstoppable, and we could potentially see some cricket score numbers in the midfield with Butters, Horne-Francis, potentially Rosie if he goes through there. Bergman's on fire at the moment. So Port Adelaide, the signs are looking ominous for the West Coast Eagles today.
So how do West Coast try and combat the likes of Georgiades. I would imagine from what I've seen this year that Ruben Ginbey has the ability and the strength to handle someone like Georgiades, and he would seem to me to be their best option. But then if you do that with West Coast, you've then got to go, well, is it the likes of Williams or alongside him some of the other young defenders who might get a chance? Harry Edwards are going to have to take on Jack Lukosius. So no matter what they do, it is an almighty-looking Port Adelaide midfield and a tremendous-looking forward line that the Eagles are going to have to deal with today.
Yeah, it certainly is. And Mitch Georgiades, he's the number one kick to mark forward in the mark inside forward 50 in the whole competition. So he's the number one person that they kick to the most in the competition. So that's a pretty big stat. So the coaching staff for West Coast, so when Port run out of stoppage, they're kicking it to Mitch Georgiades almost every time, really. So, but it gets back to how they go in the midfield. If Port have their way and to get their shoulders out and have easy kicks inside 50, it'll be a long afternoon for West Coast. So midfield pressure is going to be the absolute key, and you just got to put some make it dirty ball into the Port forward line, make it hard.
Well, you talk about he's the number one target inside Port Adelaide's 450. Other sides know that and haven't been able to stop it. I think Ginbey is probably the logical matchup. And to your point, Brogues, you need dirty ball inside 450. I reckon the hard thing with the Georgiades, aerially, he's so good, but he gets you on the lead.
He gets you on the lead, yeah. So he moves really well.
He does, and if there's speed on the ball through the midfield for Port Adelaide and Georgiades has space to work into, one, it's really difficult to stop him one-on-one, but it's also hard to air assist. So, once again, slow Port Adelaide through the mid part of the ground, win and dominate the stoppage and the midfield battle, which I don't think West Coast have the capabilities of doing, but if they're any chance to win today, they must find a way to slow Port Adelaide's midfield down.
Couple of milestones worth mentioning. Miles Bergman for Port Adelaide brings up game 100, the 23-year-old who only recently signed a new 2-year extension at the club. So Bergman 5-3 for the season from his 16 games so far. And a couple of milestones too for West Coast. Tyler Brockman and Matt Flynn both played their 50th AFL games, and alongside them Jamie Cripps, his 250th for the West Coast Eagles.
Clint, you mentioned Miles Bergman, and I want to get to the bottom of who it was at Port Adelaide. Probably Josh Carr 6 weeks ago gave him a tagging job in the midfield, and again, I don't even know who it was against. I just know that he was given a role, and since then he's almost become an elevator to one of the elite midfielders. And I know it's too early to make that call, but he's almost one of the elite midfielders in the comp at the moment. He is absolutely on fire in the midfield.
Well, I think future, look at Port Adelaide in the next year or two. I think that's a big reason why I reckon he's re-signed with the club, because everyone wants to play in the midfield. Yeah. And he's been Mr. Fix-It from Port Adelaide. He plays down back, plays on the wing, he can go forward. I think Josh Carr sees him being a midfielder. So, you know, they've got the three-headed monsters in there in Butters, Horn Francis and Rosie when he goes in. And then you throw Bergman into the mix, plus Ollie Wines. Like that's 5 A-graders really going through your midfield now, and the mix of it's right because he runs defensively very well, Miles Bergman.
Josh, there's plenty of talk about Bergman, whether he would be here come next year, obviously, because he was out of contract. There's some expectation that Butters may not stay after next year, so perhaps that move to Bergman in the midfield and him knowing perhaps what will happen over the next year or two, it might have just been the key to keep him here as well.
Possibly, yeah, absolutely. And obviously the big question mark in 12 months' time is what's going to happen with Zach Butters, but yeah, and look, and just the way that Bergman plays, you talk about his versatility, he's flexible, he can go back if needed, he can play wing, and he has done some jobs on the wing. The thing I really like about him, he's big, he's strong, but he's got speed, and he's in full flight, almost unstoppable at the moment.
Might head downstairs, find out what it's like. Boundary side, a big welcome to Braden Ingram. G'day, Braden.
Yeah, good afternoon, gentlemen. The ground in such great condition that you'd barely believe there was actually a rugby union test held here last night. The British and Irish Lions, their final warm-up before they take on the Wallabies. The ground staff up until 3 a.m, turning around the goalposts and washing out the lines. So no issues in terms of the ground. Look, there is a chance we could get some rain in the early stages. We're hoping that possible shower will stay away. There's a bit of a breeze blowing across the ground, around 20 k's an hour southwesterly. Shouldn't cause too much of an issue in terms of the two sides. Josh Sin, Willie Rioli, Ollie Wines and Hugh Jackson are on the bench for Port Adelaide, with Will Lorenz the sub. For the Eagles, it's Tom Cole, Clay Hall, Jack Williams and Malachi Champion, who are on the interchange, with Noah Long to start as the sub. Given Dante Vicentini is out of the power side, Ollie Wines certainly has been used as a second ruck in the past, and they can certainly turn to that option today if they need it as well. Gentlemen.
Braden Ingram downstairs. The scarves are aloft, but never tear us apart. Port will need everyone working together between now and the rest of the season.
Clinton, if I could just interject there, one person I reckon for Port Adelaide needs to have a big game is Ollie Lord. I reckon he's a bit in the wilderness at the moment. I don't really... He really knows his niche and has really found his feet, so a really good opportunity for him to really complement Mitch Georgiades ahead of the ball for Port Adelaide.
Comes in after kicking 5 straight at the Sandford last weekend. Lord, Power have won the toss. They're going to head towards the Riverbank stand end to the right of our broadcast position. Here's Mark Soderstrom to get us started.
Jordan Sweet and Matt Flynn do the ruck work. Flynn in game number 50, as Clint mentioned earlier, one of the 3 milestones for West Coast.
Looks like Bergman has also got the job on Reed, so we'll keep an eye on that matchup.
They're fresh off a new contract, Bergman. Sin as well, and also Burgoyne. Maybe Burgoyne's contract was to try and get a little taster, to try and get Isaiah Wanganeen-Miller at some point. The tap again through the centre of the ground. Final clearance comes through for West Coast into attacking 50. Jones for Port Adelaide. Oh, he's back in the side. Quick little handball to Harley Reid. Couldn't take it. Farrell overruns it as well at centre half forward for West Coast. And Harley Reid, as usual, just lays a big tackle to get things going.
Just repeating half-time in the other game between the Saints and Sydney. St Kilda leading that by 10 points at the moment. We'll keep you across it. And the restart, it comes down to Burne-Jones of Port. Hurried kick. Bounces away from Butters, eventually able to gather, got it onto Rosie. His hand pass was a bit hot. Picked up by Baker. He's tackled to ground by Bergman. Still in the centre square. Wrapped up and taken down to the turf. No score opening 70 seconds. Umpire throws it aloft. Sweet palmed it down for Port. Hacked forward by Butters. Was able to work it on again. Came out in the direction of Bergman. Originally got it from a teammate in Richards. They go inside forward 50. The shot on goal from Georgiades. What a start. We knew he'd going to be dangerous. And Port just kept pushing it forward, and they've got the opening goal in the first 80 seconds of the game. Port Adelaide 1 straight 6. West Coast yet to score.
Well, Brogues, that's the danger, isn't it, for the West Coast Eagles? We've seen a couple of minutes of actual game time, stoppage after stoppage. Ball hasn't gone anywhere. And the moment Port Adelaide are able to break out of that layer 1, layer 2 scramble, they look electric. And Ollie Lord there, we mentioned him at the start of the game. Just a beautiful little tap on to Georgiades' advantage.
Well, it's clever footy by Lord. Nice little tap to Georgiades, but it all started from the stoppage back at West Coast half-forward line. Butters was standing by himself, and he was able to clear it, kick it off the ground and get it going for Port Adelaide. You cannot leave Zach Butters at a stoppage unattended.
Mitch Georgiades in hot form. He's had a great month of footy. That's goal number 43 for the season. Back in the centre, Flynn gets the tap down. Reid is good to Hoff. Back to Reid, the centre of the ground. Little kick going out towards Hutchinson. Centre wing here in front of the broadcast area. Ball taken by Richards. Little 1-2. Terrific work there by Hutchinson, able just to stop that foray for Port Adelaide. Baker. Handball comes back out of bounds. Plenty of pressure from Port Adelaide. Travis Boat getting involved, and also Darcy Burne-Jones and Richards.
That was, terrific pressure. Caught it soda from Little Richards there. Really good closing speed to affect the tackle and cause the boundary stoppage.
Port with the opening goal. 3 and a bit minutes played. 1 down by Sweet. Trying to get to it. Hutchison. It's wrapped up. Is it taken high? No, according to the umpire. There'll be a ball up on the logo, commentary side of the ground.
And Jimby does have the job on Georgiades too. So again, we'll keep an eye on that matchup throughout the course of the afternoon.
Matt Flynn against Sweet. They lock arms. Then holding decision being called. It's going the way of West Coast here, and they'll take the advantage. Baker look to work it on to McCarthy. Hands it on again to Hewitt. Kicks inside forward 50. Lovely pass, low, flat and hard. On to Bailey J. Williams. Leading out. He's right in front. Will kick from 45 metres away.
Oh, it was great play by West Coast. A free kick paid. They played on, used their hands really well, which they do really well, West Coast, off turnover. They can move the ball very quick. That's their new game style for this year. So when they got ball in hand and they can go, they do have some speed on the ball, and lovely forward entry.
Nice pass from Hewitt. Bailey J. Williams picked the goal for West Coast. Boots cross the top of the 50 arc. The kick on its way. Goal umpire leans back, and the Eagles' flags will fly. West Coast, they get an equalising goal. 4 and a bit minutes into the opening term. It's off the boot of Bailey J. Williams. 1 straight 6, the Eagles. Port 1 straight 6. Wherever you're listening, this is Sunday Arvo Footy on ABC Sport. Our experts, Dean Brogan and Josh Franco.
Yeah, bro, just to reiterate what you said, and we mentioned pre-game that the West Coast really do need to win the midfield battle, and they're outstanding on that occasion. Hewitt's spread and acceleration out of that stoppage to be that handball receive and the connect inside 50 was outstanding. And just looking at Connor Rosie in the replay, just got caught flat-footed, just got caught ball watching a little bit and got burned as a result. But good start for the West Coast.
Big raps on Elijah Hewitt, been injured a lot, high draft picks, just starting, West Coast just starting to see what this kid's capable of. Last month's been very good.
Yeah, starting in the centre of the ground today, Hewitt. Flynn, sweet again, tapped into the direction of Hewitt, but coming through was Rosie off half-back. Just hacks it up forward. But can't be completed. Richards in there again. Power fans just a little annoyed that Bergman wasn't awarded that mark. The reset inside the centre square. Left half forward for Port Adelaide. They can't work their way through again, so the umpire ball it up.
Butter's taken the ground. He'll throw it back to the umpire. Puts it into the air. Sweet takes clean possession. Immediately kicks the ball. It'll bounce inside forward 50. Lord met it. Hand pass meant for Bergman. Bit hot. Couldn't quite get there. Jack Williams is able to get it away. Through Hoff for the Eagles. To Hewitt. Lovely pass to Baker on the outer edge of the centre circles. Pauses for a moment to allow teammates to stream forward. And he'll head to Marrick, who marks on the logo out of side. His kick goes past on the bounce. Cripps, who can't drag it in at right half forward.
Once again, the West Coast from stoppage, bros. Look pretty sharp. Hewitt again, influential. Nice little connection inside the centre of the ground, but just couldn't finish their work off.
Out of side, Adelaide Oval, half forward for West Coast. Flynn goes to ground and just hammers it forward. Close to the line, picks up about 20 metres, and we'll have a throw in here in the Eddie Betts pocket.
Actually, don't mind that as a tactic there, Soto, for Flynn and West Coast. Hit it outside of the inner bubble so that the Butters and Horn Francises and those types of players don't have the influence and allow their midfields to get first look at it ahead of the ball.
Plenty of quality in that Port Adelaide midfield. Josh Franco.
There it is again.
Yep, comes out to Bailey. Jay Williams again. Taken down in a big tackle by Manny Lidley. And he's gone from air conditioner mechanic to AFL footballer in the matter of a month, Manny Lidley. So back in the side today, which will give him a bit of confidence.
Port, dangerous kick. They might turn it over. They do. Dewar did well to mark inside forward 50. Zerk Thatcher took it on. It was a very tough kick. And then Dewar was able to just chop it off, and he's marked 45 out from goal. Just better than a 45-degree angle to the left.
Well, sloppy kick, wasn't it? I'm not sure what he was looking at, Zerk Thatcher, but...
Just going to say, ambitions and capabilities, I reckon you can't confuse them, and I reckon he did on that occasion. Zerk Thatcher, as a defender, kick it long down the line.
21-year-old Terrell Dewar back into the team this week for the Eagles. The kick's on its way, and they come from everywhere, his Eagles teammates. West Coast are in front at the 7-minute mark of the opening term. The Eagles are 2 straight 12. Port Adelaide 1 straight 6. Who would have thought this from a start from the West Coast Eagles? Today, by the way, wearing their Indigenous jumper on the final day of NAIDOC week. Port Adelaide in their traditional black kit with the black shorts.
Well, it's only early signs, as you just called them, Clint, but West Coast look up for the fight early, which is great to see if you're a West Coast supporter or a coach. They look into it, they're tackling hard, their pressure's good, and like I said before, if you turn the ball over on West Coast, they do go hard. We know McQualter's spent some time at Richmond, that run and gun, running numbers, running waves. That's what West Coast can do off turnover. And, you know, Port Adelaide look a little bit off their game at the moment, and West Coast kicked two straight goals.
Well, Terrell Dewar back in today, one of 5 changes. And he's had some hamstring issues and comes back and puts the Eagles in front. Terrific start. Back in the centre of the ground, Wines able to take it off the hand of Flynn, gives it to Butters. He has a bounce, streams away from Hall. He's kicked over the head of Bergman, just travelling out towards the forward pocket and seen over the line by Jinby, and he's got Bergman there. So Bergman's spending a lot of time forward. We've seen him in defence and we've seen him in the midfield in the last few weeks.
But it looks like, Horn, he's done a direct swap with Horn Francis. He's now got the job on Reid at stoppages by the looks of things.
Throwing in left forward pocket. Flynn will look to take it away. Got a hand pass down to Reid. Arches the back. Got away from Burn-Jones. Kicks towards right half back, and that's a good fly. Courageous in from the side. Liddy was there, and Butters leapt into the air
Butters?
He is
drag it in.
Star, isn't he?
And he'll move it short. He'll find Wines. Not long enough to be a mark inside the left forward pocket to Horn Francis. Broken attempted tackle and then kick towards full forward. They come from everywhere. Jimby got a touch on it. Spills down. Hutchison in his defensive goal square to Reed. Got the arms free. And the hand pass was clever enough to go back and across the goal line for a rush behind. So the Eagles 2 straight 12. Porter 1-1-7. And we've gone 9 and a bit minutes in the opening term.
He's going to be a big afternoon for Harley Reid. He's got Bergman on him, and then he's got Horn Francis on him. But the kid, he started well, Harley Reid.
Ball to Hutchinson, and one of the great successes of the mid-season draft over the past 3 years for the Eagles, Hutchison, along with McCarthy and also Marrick. Here's Dewar, the goal kicker. So they're just keeping the ball in possession at half-back in their defensive 50.
I don't mind this, Soda, but they've still got to go forward eventually. So they've gone all the way across the ground, haven't gained any field position. Now the long down the line kick will come.
Yeah, Jinby half-back out of side, goes out to the wing, big stretch, and the mark is taken by Jobe Shanahan. Just game number 3, kicked 2 last week, and he's really been impressive.
Like this kid, very, very big raps on him.
Up to half forward, mark can't be completed there. Port's defence holding tight at the moment, and the umpire will ball it up, 40 out from the West Coast goal.
Big raps on Shanahan. His coach on one of his local news crosses said he expected it won't be long until he rips a game apart. Flynn down. Going up was Rosie, tackled by Baker. Went to ground heavily. Port move it towards the outer wing. Bergman under pressure from Jimby, lost it. Picking up Marrick, trying to get a hand pass back. Still there to be won. Hoff taps it forward. Now comes the Jimby. Will kick inside forward 50, but can't find Reed. Just behind him was Rosie. And Rosie marks defensively for Port and then almost turns it over. Hutchison couldn't gather across half forward for West Coast. Port got numbers there to try to clear. Cripps is onto it. Jones got there first. Can't control it though. Baker still applies pressure. Picked up by Cripps. Tackled by Zerk Thatcher. Taken to ground. Inside West Coast forward 50 in the left forward pocket. The Eagles lead by 5. 12 gone in the first.
Tell you what, bro. The words that comes to mind are lacklustre for Port Adelaide at the moment. They're making skill execution errors and looking really lethargic and not in this contest at the moment.
Yeah, a little flick over the top from Jackson to Burgoyne in defence. He goes up the line just in front of the interchange gates. And the ball is taken out of bounds by Harry Edwards. Let's go down onto the boundary now.
That missed kick from Connor Rosie just put Zach Butters in a precarious position. He got crunched and was down on his haunches. He's joining this contest now. Might have just been winded, but might be slow to get going for the next couple of minutes.
Braden Ingram on the boundary for us on ABC Sport this afternoon. This is Sunday Arvo footy. One down by Sweet from the restart. On the logo, Boat gathers, gives it to Rosie. Hand pass is meant for Butters. There's a whistle on the play. Didn't spot what it was for. Not really the controlling umpire. It's going to come back nonetheless for Butters to take. And he's got it about a metre in from the commentary edge of the centre square. He'll move it inboard to find Richards. Just inside the centre circle. Stops and props and now is forced to move it on. The kick is poor.
Terrible kick.
He'd have been disappointed with that. It's turned over at left half forward. Hit by Clay Hall. Comes towards the logo. Brockman, slipped over. Tackled. Got the hand pass out. Great pressure from Richards though. Looking to move it on against Duggan. He's able to find Cripps. Game 250 for West Coast. Cripps kicks the Eagles inside forward 50. Alir flew out the back though. Staying down. That's a great mark to Williams.
Well, I tell you what, I thought the aerial work of Brockman was outstanding. Even though he went to ground and nearly messed it up, but his aerial stuff to bring the ball to ground and then get another look at it and get the ball going forward was outstanding.
But you said it before, Josh. Port look off. They're missing kicks. They're unsure of how they should be moving the ball. We saw Richards kick, just turned it straight over to West Coast. And like I've said, you cannot turn the ball over against this team. They will get you on the other way.
Jack Williams given a reprieve. He was dropped. He comes back in with a suspension to Graham. Here comes Jack Williams, and he takes his opportunity in front of goal from 35 out on a 45-degree angle to the left. And West Coast are up and about early at a venue they've had no success at in recent times. The Eagles lead 3 straight 18. Porter 1-1-7, 14 and a bit gone in the opening term. This is Sunday Arvo Footy on ABC Sport. Our experts, Josh Franco and Dean Brogan.
Well, Bros, we've been there before and played the game at this level and played in a good side. So when you come up against a side that's on the bottom of the ladder or one of the cellar dwellers, mentally this game keeps biting you if you don't come switched on. And at the moment, it doesn't look like Port Adelaide have even woken up. I reckon they're still caught in the change rooms thinking that they're just going to go through the motions. And full credit to the West Coast Eagles. They look sharp around the ball. Some of their contest work is outstanding. And as you said, when they get it, they go. They run forward hard and they look dangerous every time they enter their forward 50.
3 goals straight helps as well. You've got to know your goals on the road. No pressure like scoreboard pressure.
Jack Williams with his 15th goal of the year. Bailey Williams and Ollie Lord now giving their ruckman chop-outs in the centre of the ground. It's taken by Butters. We've seen it again. He takes the ball and runs. Handball over the top to Liddy at half-forward. Lowers the eyes. Was looking for Lukosius. And Richards has it out over the line. Again, that dynamic change of speed from Butters on show.
I'd love to see Butters just kick the ball inside 50. He's one of the best kicks in the comp. That handball out to the wing, he was out. I'd rather him kicking the ball inside forward 50. Handballs out, and you end up in the pocket.
Eagles by 11. Lord won it down against Bailey J. Williams. Came out the side for Port. Butters was able to work it onto Jackson. Has a shot towards goal from about 47 out. Georgiades couldn't mark. Spills out of his hands and across. There was some pressure being applied by 2 Eagles, mind you, and across the behind line for a minor score. 1-2-8 Port, 3 straight 18 the Eagles, and we've travelled 16 into the first.
Jinby from McCarthy, who's been given the honours to kick in again.
They're out everywhere here.
Yeah. Followed up by Edwards. Marrick's kick cut off by Burgoyne on centre wing. Clay Hall has it, just gets around onto his left. Alir gets a finger to it. And Cripps, if the kick is good, just put it out on the full, or has it been touched? Yeah, it's been touched, so the ball will be thrown in 25 out from the Eagles' goals.
They got lucky there, Port. They were out everywhere, West Coast. Port are still, like you said, still asleep in the change rooms, Josh.
Spun back in, deep inside the Eagles forward 50. Lord, gathered, hand pass back. Boak had to mop it up to Alir, to Zerk Thatcher. Sweeping hand pass to left half back to Sin. Liddy tackled and crunched. Ball jarred free. Well done, Owies. The Eagles moving into the right forward pocket. Shanahan to Cripps, who snaps. And in game 250, the blue and gold, has it gone through for a major? Yes, it has. We might see this go upstairs, will we? It was very close, but Cripps, he's confident it's a goal. And the Eagles all went to celebrate with him in a milestone match. 4 straight, the West Coast. Porter 1-2-8. That is a remarkable beginning from the Eagles. And I'm not sure anyone outside of the West Coast camp would have seen it coming. They're up by 16, 18 gone in the first. The goal stands.
Well, Clint, they're running back to the centre to restart the play, but Ollie Lord's not going anywhere. He's 100% certain. He put his hand in the air saying he touched the footy off the kick from Cripps as soon as it left the boot. So obviously they're doing the review, but Ollie Lord's very confident he got a hand on that.
But just on West Coast, they are up for this. They are all over Port Adelaide. Their pressure's good. They're going at the footy, at the players. It is touched.
Looks to be touched, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Replay.
It is flick the fingers. You're right. Well played to Ollie Lord. Everybody else had said, no, that's a goal. You don't normally see them all go to every part of the ground for the restart.
One thing I will say as well, fellas, is we played 10 minutes of actual game time. 5 players from Port Adelaide yet to touch the footy. Farrell Jones, Drew, Lukosius and Rioli.
So the Eagles lead. We'll rectify that. 11 points. 19 gone in the first.
Liddy just goes across goal to Jones as Port take their turn to just hold possession in the defensive 50. Kick up the half-back. Bailey Williams goes through his hands. Ball bobbing around. Drew has it. Was looking for Lord. Coming through was Boak. Under pressure. Gives it to Sin. Loses his footing. Travis Boak's there to back him up at half-back. Fires a handball to Bergman. He finds a little bit of space. And then he's... Berg the kick going across. Picked up by Williams. Owies goes with some little inventive kick along the ground. Marek has it. Gives it back in a 1-2 from Brockman in game number 50. Nails it through. And West Coast make Port Adelaide pay. They get another goal. It is a brilliant start by the boys from the West here at the Adelaide Oval. Port Adelaide 1-2-8. West Coast 4-1-25. It's a 17-point lead. Sunday Arvo Footy, ABC Sport. Your experts, Josh Franco and Dean Brogan.
Well, I said in the pre-game, Port have been known to lay an egg or drop a lemon in some games, and throughout this year they haven't turned up in some contests, and this is potentially one of them. They are playing some horrible football at the moment, and West Coast are capitalising on every mistake that they are doing. And if you're Port Adelaide, you would be fuming in the coach's box. They look like they do not want to be here, Josh.
Well, I know some of the metaphors coaches use in terms of how they want to start players, throw the first punch. Port Adelaide have been king hit by the West Coast Eagles. Just in terms of their overall gameplay, Port Adelaide look lethargic. They're making errors. They look like a B-grade team and playing like millionaires at the moment.
Colleague in the West, Mitch Turner, tells me Port Adelaide are 0-7 when they lose the first quarter this season. From the restart, it's been locked in the centre circles. Flynn will climb up alongside Sweet, and Sweet throws it back to the umpire.
Inside 50s, 10-5, West Coast Eagles way. Clearance is 11-4, Port Adelaide's way, but West Coast dominating play.
Sweet won it down. Drew got a kick away, though again, the non-controlling umpire who's standing at left half back has spotted a free kick. It's coming back to Port, and it'll come to Butters, I think.
And probably where they're getting them at the moment, the uncontested possessions are 40-29 West Coast way. So on the spread and on the turnover, destroying Port Adelaide.
It's a clear tactic to try and stranglehold Port Adelaide. Very, very well coached and well executed so far by West Coast.
Butters to Farrell. Now it's with Burgoyne. Puts it into the right forward pocket. That's well read. Coming out to Mark Georgiades. He got some separation. And the delivery was pinpoint. He marks on his chest. He'll put boots of ball on goal from about 45 metres out, but he's tight in the right forward pocket.
And that's where this bloke's so hard to match up on, because he does get you on the lead-up, as he did on that occasion, and he's very difficult to come across an air assist. But he can also sit on your head as well. But you talk about important goals to wake Port Adelaide up. This is critical.
It's Georgiades. Boots cross the boundary line first, then they'll cross the arc of 50. From deep in the right forward pocket, his slow, deliberate approach. It is a shocker. Wow. It's like one of my drives. It's sliced out to the right-hand side. It's missed the lot by a good way. Free kick to West Coast at left full back. By the way, the St Kilda Saints lead the Sydney Swans by 11 points. 10 gone into the third term at Docklands.
Georgiades, just when they needed it, misfires. The kick in, though, taken by Butters from Duggan.
Thank goodness for this bloke.
Lowers the eyes, finds Bergman inside 50. He's on something like a 45-degree angle, perhaps a little better than that, but he's going to kick from right on 50.
And I mentioned Zach Butters. He's had 9 disposals in this first quarter, and if he wasn't playing, they could be 6 or 7 down.
And 4 clearances. He's been the best player on the ground today.
Yeah.
So Bergman in game number 100. The Sandringham Dragon from the under-18 program signed a 2-year deal this week. He goes long. Don't worry about the distance. It goes through at half-post high, through the middle, and he comes out and they swamp him in the milestone game. So Port needed that. It's back to 11 points. West Coast 4-1-25. Port Adelaide 2-2-14. Sunday Arvo Footy on ABC Sport.
Brokes, that might be the spark they need. We saw once Bergman, it went through the big sticks. All 18 players, 17 players went up to Bergman to congratulate him. So potentially that is the spark they need. But we mentioned that man, Zach Butters, 9 disposals, 4 clearances, 145 metres gain, and his kicking by foot has been outstanding as it was on that occasion to find Bergman unattended inside their forward 50. But yeah, as I said, from Port Adelaide's perspective, thank God for Zach Butters.
Yeah, they've got to do something about him, West Coast, because Butters at this stage is going to have 40 and absolutely destroy West Coast if they don't try and put the clamps on him. He's the only one keeping Port Adelaide in this quarter. He's on fire.
Clay Hall stands alongside him for West Coast. A restart. Sweet had 2 taps. Butters will gather it again. Tries to sweep the hand pass forward. Cripps will get there first for the Eagles. Hands it off to Hall. The logo, commentary wing. Lovely floated kick, was perfectly weighted over the top for Baker to run onto it left half forward. Centres a kick, he wants Owies! Took 2 grabs at it, but is able to mark it right full forward. He can shoot at goal when he goes back from no more than 25 out, but it is a tight angle to the right.
Tell you what, two bits of play there. The spread from Hall and then the kick from Hall. That was unbelievable. You talk about dropping it in a bin. That kick on the left set up that inside 50 and eventual connection.
Great kick by Baker.
But Hall was outstanding from the centre bounce there.
Maddo, he's back in the team. Had a successful game last week in the WAFL. And on his recall, he's missed. That's a disappointing effort from there. He's hit the right-hand goalpost, the minor score. Let's go downstairs. Braden Ingram's on the boundary. Braden?
That possible shower now becoming very probable. It's just started to spit here, so we could get some slippery conditions.
The West Coast out by 12. 24, nearly 25 gone in this first term at Adelaide Oval. Long kick in, and the mark's been taken by Harry Edwards. He's got Jewett running past, decides not to use him, goes inboard, and the kick just had enough to get to Duggan. So inside the centre square, the co-captain decides to come back out towards Edwards. Been a terrific first term by the Eagles, and maybe, just maybe, that goal from Bergman can ignite something for Port Adelaide. They go into attack. The big fly came across. Mark not taken. Quick hurried kick is high, and it's just gone out to the right from Harley Reid, and it's through for a behind.
I think he's claiming he marked that, which I'd like to have another look at that. I thought he marked it as well.
Well, the other thing that's
everyone stopped.
Symptomatic of Port Adelaide, they just stopped. Harley Reid then got up and had a snap at goal.
Port quickly towards left half back. Duggan got there in front, couldn't mark, and the ball goes across the boundary line for a throw-in, left half back for Port. And this is concerning for the Power because Aliir is limping off the ground. He's not moving smoothly at all. Two trainers with him as he'll make his way to the interchange gates. Braden Ingram will keep us right across that, so that's a real worry for the Power. Getting it down was Sweet. Comes to Drew, then to Butters. Clearing kick from Boak towards the outer wing. On the bounce, it makes its way there towards Edwards of West Coast. His kick was terribly disappointing. Over the top of Reid's head, had no chance of marking it. It's out of bounds on the full, and Butters will take it between left half back and centre wing for Port.
An alarming stat for Port Adelaide at the moment as well. Kicking efficiency just 55% by foot.
Duggan at half back. Handball to Hutchison. He sends the ball out of side. Jones at the back. Going to run over to it with Zirk Thatcher. He leaves it for Zirk Thatcher to give it to Rosie. Kicked by Burgoyne out of defensive 50. But it's been cut off by Hutchison, and the Eagles get to reload and go forward.
And at the moment, there's no method, is there, in their ball movement, particularly out of their D50. They're just hacking it forward. West Coast are setting up really well behind the ball and capitalising on it.
That little chip to Harley Reid, and then he in turn chips again and maintaining possession. And Tom McCarthy has come up all the way from defence. He's on the point of the square going forward. He's got a lead. Bailey Williams over the back of him, and the tackle from Connor Rosie ensures that Jobe Shanahan can't get out of it, and Aliir is in a bit of trouble looking at him on the bench.
Also looking at the flags on top of the scoreboard, they are howling to the north, so I'm wondering if that's having an influence on this game at all. But it does seem to be quite strong out there, the breeze.
From the throw-in, right forward pocket for the Eagles. Sweet palms it down with the left against Flynn. Hits traffic. Trying to emerge with it, Shanahan. Quite able to pick it up. Was Owies. Ball's still there to be won. Hewitt tried to keep it in. Owies knocked it back towards goal. Zirk Thatcher was there to Butters, who's been absolutely everywhere for Port. Short to Jones. His kick is to Sin, and he marks in the right back pocket. 4-3-27 the Eagles. 2-2-14 Port Adelaide as the Power bring it towards Liddy, who marks it right half back.
28 gone in this first term. Liddy's kick, though, didn't have enough on it. He was looking for Lord, and it's been cut off by Harry Edwards. A little chip to Marrick, who's alongside Liddy, who wears the long sleeve on his right leg. Almost.
Oh, that's only just distance in that kick.
Got it to Cole, who's back in the side today. Premiership player quickly goes forward into the attacking 50 again. The target was Shanahan. Eagles, Clay Hall has it under stress from Bergman. Butters again. Gives a handball, releases Rioli. He's got runners. Burne-Jones. Bergman's in trouble. He's wrapped up.
Oh, yeah.
Terrific tackle.
He was lucky. They were lucky sodas. They were out.
Looked like Bergman was in trouble. It was a tackle from Cole, but the umpire
It's got him a bit high.
has said that Bergman can have another go at it.
Wow.
Burns the ball. That kick is a genuine stinker. Always cuts it off at half-back and the rain's coming down.
He leaves it for Baker to run on to. Tried to tap it, collided with by Jones. Allows Farrell to pick it up for Port. Sweeps the ball back as the rain continues to Zerk Thatcher. It's got heavier too here at Adelaide Oval. Will go right back inside his defensive 50. Chance for Sin. Kicks towards right half back. No mark taken, but a free kick's been spotted. Marek will have it. Interfered with as he attempted the mark. Sends it inside the forward 50. Chopped off by Butters. Was able to knock it down to Rosie. Hand pass Jones. Allowed it to bounce. Baker gathered it and stole it away. Hand pass to Harley Reid, who snaps around the body from the right forward pocket and then goes to just tell the crowd, let's have a listen to you. Holds up the right hand to the ear and just says, I can't hear anything at the moment here at Adelaide Oval. 5-3-33 the West Coast Eagles, 2-2-14 Port Adelaide, and we've gone in this first term 31 minutes. Let's head downstairs to the boundary. Braden Ingram.
Aliir came into this game with his left knee heavily strapped, and that's what the doctors have been looking at. Have now re-strapped it. He's just moving it around, trying to get it to feel comfortable, but clearly he is still working through that on the bench. And I've got to say down here, guys, the body language is just so flat from the power at the moment.
Well, it's interesting. I was going to say Harley Reid can't hear anything, but I can't see anything from the Port Adelaide players. After that goal was kicked, hands on hips, heads were down. There was no energy whatsoever. Really alarming signs.
Wines takes it out of the centre. His handball is smothered. He gets it back and Butters lays a tackle.
Talk about Butters as well. 14 disposals. Watched him for the last couple of minutes. No one's going within a bull's roar of him.
Yeah, they're going to have to do something about that.
I think you use the word clamp. They've got to clamp him and nullify his influence.
Yeah, 2 tackles, 4 clearances and 3 inside 50s to go with that. He's sitting in the top 5 in the coaches' votes. And he comes in 7 behind Noah Anderson and Nick Dacos at the top as a kick forward for Port Adelaide. Jinby reads it well, comes out in front of Georgiades. Defensively, West Coast need to be quick. A rundown came from Butters up forward to Bailey J. Williams, who disposes of Zerk Thatcher. Picked up by Baker, goes to Brockman. His kick is to the advantage. It's a great kick. They've maintained possession beautifully, and having a shot will be from about 45 out. And that's Owies, who's back in the side today after that calf issue.
Just one other player as well that needs to get going is Jason Horne-Francis. Just the 2 disposals, had 0 influence on this game, and he's normally the one that does provide Port Adelaide that spark in the midfield, which they're severely lacking at currently.
Owies back in. Clint, somewhat of a surprise that Carlton let him go. He's been good at West Coast.
Absolutely it was.
Now Owies, front of the scoreboard, goes long. He's got it in the square. Big stretch for a mark. He's paid the mark, the umpire. Maybe he's gone the under 12's raining wet weather type decision. And 2 hands to it. And the mark has been taken. And it's Matt Flynn in game number 50 has been able to drift forward.
Just got vision from Port Adelaide coach's box. Kenny Hinkley's put the boxing gloves on. I reckon he's going to
wouldn't have the lollies in his mouth this week.
He wouldn't be playing games up there at the moment.
Big Matty Flynn, the ruckman, from point blank. He's a metre out and he pumps through a goal in his 50th. Right on the siren. What a start by the West Coast Eagles. They lead by 25 points. 6-3-39 to Port Adelaide 2-2-14.
One of the great things about footy, you just never know what you're going to get. West Coast came across here. They've been belted the last 9 times they've been at this venue. And yet at quarter time against Port, a team who are quite literally playing for their lives in season 2025. It's been all the Eagles. West Coast 6-3-39 to 2-2-14. As you heard from Mark Soderstrom, that is a 25-point lead. The goal kickers for West Coast, they're all individuals. Reed, Brockman, Flynn, Bailey J. Williams, Jack Williams and Terrell Dewar. While for Port Adelaide, their only goals coming off the boot of Mitch Georgiades and in game 100, Miles Bergman. West Coast are in front by 25 points. Who would have thought it? Quick check in the other game at the Docklands. St Kilda lead there by 6 points over the Swans. It's tightened up a bit. 10-7-67 to Sydney 9-7-61. That's 3 minutes into the third term. And of course, earlier today, Melbourne by 36 points over North Melbourne. 8-11-119 to 12-11-83. Wherever you're listening on ABC Radio, on Sport Digital and on the ABC Listen app, this is Sunday Arvo Footy on ABC Sport.
ABC Listen. Keeping bored parents busy is easy with the ABC Listen app. Then we can listen to our stuff, like Bluey Listen Along and all new Dino Dome. Hear it all now on the ABC Listen app.
This is the 2025 AFL Premiership season on ABC Sport.
Sweet palmed it down for Port. Hacked forward by Butters. Able to work it on again. Came out in the direction of Bergman. Originally got it from a teammate in Richards. They go inside forward 50. The shot on goal from Georgiades. What a start.
Owies goes with some little inventive kick along the ground. Marek has it. Gives it back in a 1-2 from Brockman in game number 50.
Wow.
Nails it through. And West Coast make Port Adelaide pay. They get another goal.
Rosie, hand pass Jones. Allowed it to bounce. Baker gathered it and stole it away. Hand pass to Harley Reid, who snaps around the body from the right forward pocket and then goes to just tell the crowd, let's have a listen to you.
Owies, front of the scoreboard, goes long. He's got it in the square big. Stretch for a mark. He's paid the mark, the umpire. Big Matty Flynn, the ruckman, from point blank. He's a metre out and he pumps through a goal in his 50th. Right on the siren. What a start by the West Coast Eagles.
This is ABC Sports coverage of the AFL.
On your radio.
ABC Sport Digital.
And on the ABC Listen app.
If you just landed in Adelaide from Mongolia and you thought, I'll go to the footy, I haven't seen one for a couple of weeks, and I walk in and you go and have a look at these two sides, you'd be entirely wrong about which of these teams has won just one game for the year, because it is West Coast, 1-15, who lead by 25 points, and they've looked terrific against the Port Adelaide side that can barely afford to drop a game between now and the end of the year if they're to have any hope of playing finals football. It's been all West Coast. What have our experts thought of it? Here on ABC Sport, Dean Brogan and Josh Franco.
Well, quite simply, Port Adelaide haven't shown up and West Coast have. It's as simple as that. Port Adelaide have looked horrible with ball in hand. Their kicking efficiency's just over 50%. To that of West Coast is almost 70%. West Coast have had a clear plan to strangle sort of Port Adelaide by keeping having high uncontested possession. But when Port Adelaide turn it over, West Coast are gone. They look like Port Adelaide can't stay with them. So they've had some horrible turnovers, Port Adelaide, and West Coast have just absolutely annihilated them on turnover. And 6 goals through, when you're on the road, you got to know your goals. Kick 6 goals in a quarter at a venue that you don't win at against a team that you haven't beaten for a while is a sensational start for that footy club. But just watching Ken Hinkley walk out, Josh, to the team, you said he had the boxing gloves ready to go. He called the team in straight away, and they barely went to their line group. So I would say there would be some choice words to wake up, because if they don't get going, West Coast, this could be a long day for Port Adelaide.
Well, interestingly, when you talk about some of the constants in football over the history, a contested ball, tackle count, ground ball gets, Port Adelaide are winning all three. Winning tackles by 3, contested ball by 2, ground balls by 1. The inside 50s at the moment are 17-8 in favour of West Coast. And the area which probably supports what you're saying, Broke, the uncontested possession, 62-47 West Coast Eagles way. So as you said, when the ball's turned over, they are gone. And Port Adelaide at the moment look lethargic on transition, on defensive transition. They're slow to react and they're slow to go, and the intent to go isn't there at the moment. So you talk about Ken Hinkley going down. He's trying to somehow create a spark to try to snap this Port Adelaide side into gear, because at the moment they're nowhere. They're absolutely nowhere. And you talk about the mental side of the game and the mentality coming into it. If you are slightly off, and it doesn't matter whether you're top, the bottom, you get burned.
You're going to get done.
Yeah, and Port Adelaide at the moment are getting burned. Now, we know they've got the capabilities of finding, if they find that spark of, pouring goals on quickly, but they need to somehow manufacture some energy, some intensity and some real urgency around the footy, get their transition game going, because at the moment it's not working.
If it wasn't for Zach Butters, they'd be down even further. So if you're West Coast, you've got to lay a body on Zach Butters. I know he's a hard person to tap, but they've got to do something, because he's had 14 possessions and 4 clearances, and he's in for a record-breaking day, so they need to slow him down.
Alir's back out there. By the way, West Coast highest scoring first quarter since the 2019 elimination final against the Bombers. That is some time ago. From the restart, second term underway. Reid hacks it forward off the ground. Flynn rising marks. Then it's going the other way.
Free kick to
Free kick's been
Rosie.
spotted here to Rosie. Got what for, but across half back. Dangerous kick to Burgoyne. One down by Hutchison. Reid goes in to try to win it again. Slap back by Butters. It's been kept in, and Brockman wraps up Bergman, who dived over the top of it. The ball come back to the umpire. Still in the centre square. Throwing up into the air. Tapped down by Sweet. Butters look to knock it away. Clay Hall will get there first through the centre circles. Richards couldn't gather. Hall can, and then immediately tackled by Horn Francis. On the commentary edge of the centre circles.
West Coast pressure's outstanding. Brockman on that stoppage before, just his closing speed to get on that loose ball.
Nicely done. Sweet tapped it down. Horn Francis wheeled around and then kicks inside forward 50 for Port. Great mark going up. Jack Williams. Terrific grab. His old bigger partner was Edwards. Terrific grab, and he's able to move it short. It's in the hands now of Hoff, who stands between fullback and centre half back for the Eagles. Opening 60 seconds of this, the second term. West Coast lead remains 25 points.
Good kick by Hoff, who's turned himself into a really nice midfielder after starting the year at half back. Bailey Williams out of side, left half back. Up to half forward. Burgoyne with a punch in front of Cripps. Ball comes out. McCarthy gives it back to Brockman. He wants to use the corridor, and he's got Hoff in there.
They shouldn't be able to hit that kick, West Coast.
Great kick.
Yep.
It was a terrific kick. So, long kick up to the forward line. Jones was good. Knocked it away from Cripps. And Marrick will see it over the line, the forward pocket.
What I will say, when I say you shouldn't be able to hit that kick, a long kick into the corridor. Port Adelaide, probably more an indictment on them defensively, not able to bring that ball to ground and affect the turnover. But very good kick, as you said, Brogues, from West Coast back into the corridor, though, on that occasion.
The Eagles by 25 points. Ball spun back in. Right forward pocket for West Coast. Flynn got it down. Cripps was tackled immediately. Ball up again, the call. Play up off the deck is Burgoyne, who wrapped him up for Port. Win and Sweet again awaits. Both have a touch. Comes down to Bergman. Clayhall tackled him. Spilled out to Champion. The new Eagles players as Reid gathers and immediately has a hack at goal, and he thought he put it out of bounds on the full. Instead, he'd actually stepped across the boundary line in the right forward pocket first. So that's fortunate for him and for West Coast.
Probably a good result there, wasn't it?
Very good result. Otherwise, it would have been a free kick, of course, for Port at left full back. Instead, it's going to be spun back in where it was about 40 seconds ago. Right forward pocket for the Eagles. Sweet got rid of Flynn, palmed it down, got it himself. Looked to hand it out to Farrell, and Reid tackles him across the boundary line, right where we were about 10 seconds before. Another throw in right forward pocket for West Coast, who lead by 25 points. 3 and a bit gone in the second term. Sunday Arvo footy on ABC Sport.
Brogues, I really like Reid's game.
Been good, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's been terrific. His pressure around the ball and tackling has been outstanding. Oh, he's just given away a free kick.
Yeah,
Whistle goes, against Reid. Just as Josh Franco was pumping him up. It's gone to Farrell. Dangerous kick at the centre half back. Rosie takes it, sweeps a handball to Jones. He goes out of side. They've done okay for the moment. Little kick forward to Horn Francis. Possession number 4 for him after a really uncharacteristically quiet first term. It's a great kick to Richards. He plays on his left foot. Port Adelaide need it, and Richards gives it to them. They've got their third. Just what they needed to start this second term. The Eagles still lead by 19, 6-3-39. Port Adelaide 3-2-20. Sunday Arvo footy, ABC Sport. Josh Franco and Also, Dean Brogan, the Port Adelaide superstar, steering you in the experts booth.
It was a bit more like Port Adelaide, that ball movement there. It was a risky kick by Farrell, but it paid off, and out they went. And I was watching the work rate of Jason Horne-Francis, and you called it early. He needs to get going. He worked super hard to get on the end of that, and there was a brilliant kick to Richards, and a classy finish from Richards as well. But boy, did they need that.
We just saw exactly the one issue that Harley Reid has, and he's going to be an outstanding player. But sometimes his desire to be physical just spills over and gives away free kicks like that.
Well, he's had 9 disposals, only 33% kicking efficiency, 4 tackles, but had a hand in Port Adelaide's goal on that occasion.
Sweet takes possession from the restart. Then got tackled by Flynn. He'll throw it back to the umpire. We'll throw it aloft once more. Flynn palming it down. Butters couldn't take it. Horne-Francis can for Port. Gets the kick away against Hewitt. Puts it inside forward 50 for the power. Georgiades out. Couldn't take it on the bounce. Worked it again to Lukosius, then to Richards. His kick inboard was intercepted. Wasn't a mark, was too short. Marek was happy to get it though, and he comes looking for Shanahan. Couldn't mark himself. Just shy of the wing. Hand pass to Marek. Oh, clever hand pass over the top to Hewitt for West Coast. Kicks back towards the logo. Wanted Owies. Coming the other way, though. Rosie got it. His hand pass should be turned over again. Marek got there first. Goes to Edwards by hand at right half back. And now it's the mid-season draftee Hutchison kicking West Coast towards the commentary wing. No mark taken by Baker. Hewitt got a hand pass, though, off the ground. Back to Baker. Real pressure been applied here by Port. Horne-Francis went in there, trying to dive over the top of it once more. Was Baker, and Hewitt sweet locks it in. Ball up eventually, the call. Second term, we've gone 6 minutes. The Eagles remain in front of Port by 19 points.
Just on the broadcast wing, Hugh Jackson wrapped into a tackle, a bit of a death roll from Tom Cole, who's come into the side, and Horne-Francis getting amongst it.
That was silly from Cole. Had him on toast. It was going to be a stoppage, but gave away the free kick. Now Port Adelaide will enter their forward 50. Silly.
Jackson on the wing goes in the direction of Georgiades. Lukosius went for a little fly too. Comes out the back to Rioli. He gets a little 1-2, and then it's a clever tab on. But just as the kick was going through from behind, it was pushed off target, and Lord only got the behind to Georgiades.
So the Eagles will bring it through Ginby from the left back pocket. He'll find Hutchison, who marks hard up against the boundary.
Just sense momentum swinging.
Oh, the kick inboard to Cole, and Cole wasn't able to get there, but he's been infringed. Jackson thought he was a bit unlucky. Cole happy to receive the free kick, or West Coast were in real trouble. Went to Duggan beyond defensive 50 to Hutchison at left half back. Gavin Wanganeen stand over his left shoulder. This is what's in front of him and will go short, stabbing it low to Cripps, who marks. Still right up against the boundary, going down the outer side here at Adelaide Oval. He'll kick in the direction of Brockman. Had to be at full stretch, marked in front of Horne-Francis. We'll bring it into the middle of the ground. An opportunity to build up again here. This is Bazzo, first game of the season. Bazzo, thumping kick, deep inside forward 50. Zerk Thatcher got away from Shanahan and takes a defensive mark. Was it? No, touched on the way through. So it's going to be a ball up instead. Deep inside the Eagles forward 50. The mark not paid. It was touched. It's thrown aloft.
7 minutes gone. Eagles by 3 goals. Their ball thrown up, and it's instantly back on the ground with a pack forming, so the umpire will go through the motions again. Got Sweet and Bailey Williams taken towards Brockman, and he's fighting with Rosie. Sweet now doing the work on the bottom of the pack. Horne-Francis works through, runs towards the Eagles' goal, then changes pace. Oh, that's a terrific stretch by Harry Edwards as the kick from Horne-Francis came out towards Lukosius. So Edwards is 65 out. He just stabs the kick. It looked like a good one. Going back was Aaliyah in front of Shanahan, and Aaliyah sees it out right forward pocket for the Eagles.
That Lukosius looks short of a run, doesn't he? Came back last week, was okay, but he's only had one touch, and it just doesn't look anywhere near at game level today. He's been poor to start this game. Horne-Francis getting busy for Port Adelaide, which is helping Port get back in the game.
Green tapped it back into the corridor. Clay Hall couldn't gather. Still there to be won. Baker lurking, tries to pick it up. Port have committed players to this contest. Still there to be won. Comes out the side. Bailey J. Look to tap it to Clay Hall. Will snap around the body. It'll bounce across the boundary line just to the left of the left-hand behind post for another throw-in. St Kilda, by the way, opening 60 seconds of the final term at the Docklands. Lead the Swans by 13 points. 11-8, 74, plays 9-7, 61.
Nearly 10 minutes gone here in the second. Eagles still maintaining the momentum. Kick goes out of their attacking 50. Hugh Jackson sitting over the top of it. He's going to be penalised. The umpire said he's dragged it in under him, and it'll be a shot for the Eagles from right on 50.
I wonder if we can get down to Braden if the ground's still wet, because there seems to be a lot of mishandling. Like some of the ground balls, whether the ball's still slippery and the surface is still a little bit damp from the rain we've had, but they're mishandling the footy. But potentially that's indicative of the pressure as well.
Baker from 65, just a one goal for the year. Goes long, almost to the line. Tapped out in front of Wines to Farrell. He hacks the ball forward. McCarthy overruns it. Burne-Jones just tries to punch it forward towards the wing, and it goes close to the line. Lukosius v Bazzo, and we'll see it thrown out just on the West Coast side of the interchange gates.
Very laconic player, Lukosius, isn't he? At times doesn't look like he's trying, but not having an influence in this game. Needs to start to get his hands on the footy, at least give a contest.
Eagles lead by 18. Ball back into play. Way through this second term. Bergman's able to gather to Liddy for Port. Sweeps the hand pass forward to Butters. Steps inside Hall. Hewitt closed him down. Butters just tracked away from him. Beautifully done. Gave it to Liddy. Picks up in the air towards left half forward. That's a good mark. Bazzo again. Good to see him back.
He's been good, hasn't he?
Yeah, so many injury issues, and he's had some personal problems to deal with as well. He does look to be a player for West Coast. Bazzo will kick towards right half forward. And Zerk Thatcher won it down against Shanahan, but spilled out to Baker for the Eagles. Cleverly tapped on by Brockman. Slapped back into play by Owies to Baker. Kicks towards Bailey J. He can't mark. Scooped up by Champion. Hand pass again to Shanahan. Hand pass again to Baker, who kicks the goal. And that is as slick a play as we've seen from West Coast. Probably going back to about 2021. Goodness me, that was class from the Eagles. 7-3-45, and they've gone out to what is now a 24-point lead. Put Adelaide 3-3-21, 12 gone in the third term. They just kept working it on. It was slick, it was clever. It ends up in a major. Baker will be delighted.
Hats off to Liam Baker. What a play that was. He was at the stoppage, won the ground ball, knocked it on, followed up. He was clean and good team play. A few players could have, in their own right, potentially had a shot, but they just gave the first give. And Liam Baker's having a sensational game. He's been a great pickup for West Coast this year.
Been having a sensational year. If he's absolutely not in front of the John Worsfold medal as their club champion, I'll go Liam Baker.
Great work by Owies to slap it into Baker. It was Wayne Harms to Ken Sheldon-like. Now the Eagles out by 24. Reed strong in the centre of the ground, gets a clearance. Ball just goes to half forward. Wines under pressure from Bailey Williams. Free kick's going to go to the Eagles.
Against Horn Francis, yeah, it's a bit reckless and silly.
So Cripps has it in game 250 for West Coast. Remember, he played 16 with the Saints. Goes low and drills the ball in. Port Adelaide defensively cutting it off Brockman. Lord's down there. Handball to Zerk Thatcher. He executes a kick and big fly from Jinby, but it goes over the back. Georgiades, he now gives it to his runner. Horn Francis has a bounce on the outer, loses it. Able to get control again. His kick. That was terrible.
Not working for Port Adelaide.
No, Lukosius was the target, but it was cut off by Harry Edwards.
And Edwards goes across the Hutchison for the Eagles in the right back pocket. His kick was dangerous to Hoff. One down by Sin. Sin will get it back from Bogue. Centers the kick. It bounces in the direction of Richards for Port. Swept the hand pass over his shoulder. Georgiades tackled to ground by Jinby. He had to make the tackle stick as well. It was right in front of goal. And he takes him to the turf for a ball up. Ruben Jinby just continues to grow and develop as a key defender. Great tackle that time. Bailey J. Williams won it down, knocked it in the direction of Cole. Couldn't take it cleanly. Cole's probably given away a free kick here. I thought Butters was taking the ground.
Very lucky. That was a free kick every day of the week.
Absolutely it was. The Eagles sent it into the middle of the ground, and here, free kick's been spotted going the way of Jones, who stands in the centre circles. He'll move it short to Drew.
Drew couldn't get it, just goes off the deck to Horn Francis. We're seeing a lot of him now. Gives it the Boak, shoots a handball to centre half forward, comes back to Boak. Taken down by Hutchison, turnover. Terrific work by the Eagles. Defensive pressure outstanding. Duggan gets the handball, shoots it off. Mark can't be taken on the outer side from Rosie, and the Eagles have the chance to go again. Brockman on hands and knees in game 50. He's going to get a free kick. It's going to go against Burgoyne.
Not sure that was there either, fellas.
So Brockman sends it out. Harley Reid gets a handball coming to him from 40. Dodges around, goes along and just drifts it off to the right, through for a behind. Good movement by the Eagles again, though, under pressure. 7-3, 45, lead by 24 points. Port 3-3, 21-15 gone here in the second term.
What about West Coast Eagles tackling pressure as well? At the moment, yeah, it's 14-8 this quarter in favour of the Eagles. Outstanding, as you said.
Reid just got knocked over and was looking for a free kick and appealing to the umpire. That's the other reason for a bit of frustration from Port supporters, as well as a couple of frees that they should have had and haven't. Kick goes towards left half back to Burn-Jones for Port. Now to Richards, tries to work it out to Jackson. Pressure being applied by the Eagles again. It's slapped by Richards forward. Cole got in the way for West Coast. Gave it to Marrick. Was able to turn away from Burn-Jones. Kicks towards right half forward. Flying champion. Crashed into Horn Francis. Picked it up off the deck. Dewar. Now towards Harley Reid again. Throws it on the boot. Bounces inside forward 50 away from Zerk Thatcher. Sat up nicely for Jones, lower Port. Tried to get a hand past the Lord. Under pressure from Hewitt. It's been held in. Then comes out the side. Picked up by Hall. He's wrapped up. Butters got him. Oh, sorry, Rosie got him. It's a ball up just inside the centre square. Defensive edge for the Power.
West Coast just winning all the little 1v1s. All the little 1%ers are going West Coast's way today.
Ollie Wines with a clearance from centre half back. Ginby in front of Georgiades. Just hassles him out of the contest. Picked up by Wines. Gets rid of the bump. And coming through Horn Francis. Possession number 6 for the term. And it's a good one, and the mark has been taken by Lukosius, who really needs to find his footing in this game after a good start, good return last week with 3 goals against Brisbane.
That was a big ball by Ollie Wines. Big ball to win. Sets up this shot on goal. Lovely kick by Horn Francis, and Lukosius been quiet all day, as we've called. It's a huge kick.
I think Harry Edwards might have a problem with the right shoulder here. He was grabbing it just a second ago.
We saw Lukosius last week kick a couple of long bombs from this very spot, didn't we? Albeit at the Gabba.
Had some issues with the kneecap. He's back in his second game from 55. And don't worry about the distance, but he just pulled it across the body, trying to get a little bit more from outside 50. So through from behind, West Coast 7-4-46, Port 3-4-22, 24 points, 17 gone. ABC Sports Sunday Arvo footy.
Edwards is okay for the moment. He's still out there. They'll rebound again here, Port, from Bergman, who took a mark at left half forward. Into the left forward pocket and marking Georgiades. Gee, he's a handful.
Well, I tell you what, Clint, what he did there, his forward craft was outstanding. His ability to initiate contact, get separation, the kick was perfect to his advantage, and then almost took an uncontested mark in the end. But forward craft there, really well done from Georgiades.
Setting himself up for the set snap from about 35 metres out, 5 metres in from the left boundary pocket. It is a thing of beauty. It sailed its way between the big sticks at the Cathedral end of the ground. A much needed goal again for Port as they bring the margin back to 3 majors. The Eagles by 18 points. West Coast 7-4-46. Port 4-4-28. 19 gone in the second term. It's a 1-point game at the Docklands. The Saints still in front of the Swans. Plenty of time left though. St Kilda 12-8-80. Sydney 12-7-79. 13 gone in the last.
Well, if you're West Coast, you've been brilliant for a quarter and a half. Can you get to 7 minutes to go in the quarter? Can you keep playing the way you're playing and take a half-time lead in? But you can just sense with Port Adelaide, They've got a couple more gears to give. As we know, they've been horrible to start this game, but they're just starting to get their game together again now. And if you're West Coast, can you hold on to quarter time and take a lead in at half time?
Well, Jinby's gone to Horn Francis now in defence as they ball it up centre of the ground, taken down by Clay Hall. Have a reset just on the Port Adelaide side of the centre circle. Sweet slaps it forward. Dewar gets it at half-back, runs around onto his right, looking for Cripps on the outer side, and it'll run out of bounds at half-back. Port Adelaide fans want a free kick. I mean,
You couldn't pay that.
Come on.
He had a bloke he was kicking to, just messed the kick up.
No, it's at half-forward for Port. 18-point ball game right now. West Coast have been so good. But can Port through Farrell, left foot up towards Lord, gets punched away close to the line. Jinby and Horn Francis content to see it out. 20 out from the Port Adelaide goal. The side
working for Port Adelaide is their clearance game.
Yeah. Plus 15. Yeah.
24-9, and we're seeing they're getting field position off the back of that and looking more threatening ahead of the footy.
Sunday Arvo footy on ABC Sport, ABC Radio, Sport Digital, and streaming on the ABC Listen app. It's thrown in. Flynn got it down. Tried to work it out to Reid. Met in a solid tackle straight away by Horn Francis. Ball up the court, and there's a bit of afters as well. Reid then goes diving on top of Horn Francis. Immediately his teammates get him up off the turf. Calmer heads will prevail. Thrown up in the left forward pocket for Port. Lord does the ruck work for the power, but it came down to Clay Hall. Got it to Hewitt. Dangerous kick will go hard up against the boundary line. Liddy tried to mark and couldn't. At the back, Sin slides out with Marrick. Tapped it in the direction of Jack Edwards. Releases Champion. Malachi Champion's short pass is accurate enough. He finds Shanahan. Marks on the logo centre wing. Has the pause for players to surge forward. Goes short with a pass to the chest of Reid, who gets a bit of a Bronx cheer. The boos around. Move it inboard with the pass. Harley won't mind. Comes to Cole. He's in the middle of the ground. The Eagles' lead remains 18 points, 22 gone in the second.
Tommy Cole back into the side today. Goes into the forward pocket. Ball's thumped away by the Port Adelaide defence. And it'll be thrown in. 40 out from the West Coast goal. We're 21 gone in this second term. 18-point buffer right now. It's about where the game feels it should be. Held off Port Adelaide in this term. They led by 25 points at quarter time, West Coast, after a terrific opening term. Flynn taps down. Boak reads it best. Skies the ball up to the wing member's side. Duggan on hands and knees. Horn Francis again just extricates himself out of the pack. Gives it to Butters. Horn Francis with a little handball. It's cut off. He gets it again. 3 possessions in a couple of seconds. Richard knocks it forward to Boak. Dewar's got him. Horn Francis again. Kick going forward. Mark not completed by Lukosius. Here's a chance for Butters. Handball over the top. Can Ben Jones finish? He can. That is a spectacular goal. Take your hat off to Jason Horn Francis. That was just brilliant persistence. West Coast 7-4-46. Port Adelaide 5-4-34. You're listening to ABC Sports Sunday Arvo footy.
Well, they're awake, aren't they?
Yeah.
Finally.
Yep.
Finally awake, Port Adelaide. They're up and going. And as you called before in the first quarter, Josh, Jason Horn Francis needed to get going. For this quarter, he's had 10 disposals, 3 clearances, 6 inside 50s. He is absolutely tearing this quarter apart.
Well, where it was all set up was that scramble sort of on their half-back flank where he just persisted. West Coast couldn't get a glove on him and slow him down, and then his follow-up was outstanding. But I reckon hats off to Travis Boak. That 50-50 ground ball.
Big ball.
Yeah, it was unbelievable. Had to win it, did. Horn Francis on the end of it. Really well played, Port Adelaide. That's them at their best.
Momentum's definitely shifted Port's way. If you're West Coast, you've got to hold on here and get to half-time with the lead.
Swans have hit the front of the Docklands. They're up by 6 points now. 10 to play in the last. As the Eagles will bring it away through the middle. Hewitt to Harley Reid. He'll kick high up into the air. Inside forward 50. Shanahan went, couldn't mark. Jack Williams hands it off to Baker. Butters got him. Baker broke the tackle. Works his way to his left foot. Snaps, but misses. A minor score to the left-hand side. take up for a moment. I reckon he was just about to get pinned, but somehow was able to wriggle free. It is now a 13-point lead to the Eagles, 24 gone in the second.
Farrell brings it in, and his kick is to Wines at half-back. Turns around quickly. Lord in good position. Good stretch, good mark.
Good mark by Lord.
Ollie Lord into the side today. Comes around quickly. It's a one-on-one. His kick didn't quite have enough. Georgiades was the target. Edwards did well. Comes to the back of Hutchison. They roll over the top of him. Jackson keeps the ball in with a little kick. Lukosius in trouble. He's wrapped up in a tackle, and the Eagles will be rewarded as they should. And that was good work by Duggan.
I tend to agree with you too, Brogues. West Coast, they're under the pump at the minute. Port Adelaide looking a lot better in this last part of this second quarter, but they just got to hang on, the Eagles.
Duggan, the Eagles captain, goes beyond defensive 50. There's a holding decision going to go the way of Port Adelaide here. That will make the home fans happy. Without trying to bag the umpires, there have been a few dubious calls today. Dirk Thatcher gives it off to Rosie, who kicks inside to Georgiades, who somehow got a bit of separation. And he was able to take the mark uncontested in the left forward pocket. He'll put boots a ball from 40 out.
Once again, really good forward craft, wasn't it? You called it plenty. He got separation off his direct opponent, made it and initiated early contact. And then once again, almost took an uncontested mark. So this bloke could do anything. He can sit on your head, he can lead up, and he's got good body work. So very, very difficult matchup, which is why he needs support from his other defenders.
Already with two today. Start from beyond the boundary. Walks into the field of play. Now across the arc of 50. From deep in the left forward pocket, the kick is going to be missing. It's narrowed to the left-hand side. A minor score. So Port moved to be 5-5-35. The Eagles 7-5-47. We've gone 26 minutes into the second. Let's head downstairs. Braden Ingram's on the boundary.
Jason Horne-Francis has the hot hand this quarter, but he's currently receiving treatment on his foot. He did just hobble off, and he's got his shoe off, and the trainer's looking at it as we speak.
Braden Ingram down on the boundary, thank you. Kick to Hall. He's brought down in a tackle. The pressure is on. Burgoyne has it. Little chip and kick forward. He was looking for Lukosius, but he was just a little step or so behind. And the mark has been taken by Edwards, who's been pretty solid in defence.
What I will say about Lukosius too, he hasn't had a huge impact on the game, but in fairness, a lot of his delivery has been pretty poor.
Like that one there, it was a perfect example. Little underground handball towards Drew. He goes off the deck. Malachi Champion, debut last week. Kick is good to Cole. He in turn just traverses straight across the ground. Little fumble, but okay. Bazzo up to half forward. That isn't. That kick wasn't okay at all. Farrell takes it. Outer wing. Chops it into Wines. Gives it to Butters, streaming through the centre of the ground. A little chipping kick has been marked by Lukosius. 40 out, pretty much directly in front.
Well, if you're West Coast, you're starting to make some fundamental errors. They weren't making them for the first quarter and a half, but the last sort of 10 minutes, they are severely under the pump and turning the ball over, like Port Adelaide were really in the first quarter, but they are hanging on for dear life to get to half-time.
Great delivery by Butters running through the centre of the ground to Lukosius, and Butters is up to 19 for the game already. And here is Lukosius from 52. Don't worry about the distance whatsoever, but again, just goes for a little bit extra in length and pops it across for a behind. So we're under two kicks. West Coast by 11 points. Port 5-6-36. West Coast 7-5, 47, 27 gone. Second term, Sunday Arvo Footy, ABC Sport.
Swans still lead by 6 points. 7 to go in the final term. That's against the Saints at the Docklands. Eagles go towards right half back. But he's able to work it out to Jones. Quick hands, comes through Drew, and then Burgoyne had it, lost it, got it back. Hands now for Butters to go into the middle of the ground. Nicely weighted kick to Farrell. Stands a couple of metres commentary side of the centre circle. He'll kick out towards Butters and marks. Low flat pass. He has it 50 from goal.
Well, Bros, we spoke about Butters at quarter time. Had 14 first quarter disposals. They had to put the clamps on him.
Takes it quickly into the left forward pocket. Jewell was able to stretch. Got a fingertip to it in front of Richards. It came out the back to Jack Williams. Richards tackles him. Ball jars away and is over for a boundary throwing deep in the left forward pocket for Port.
And not as big influence in this second quarter, but still no one's within ball's roar of him when the ball's in transition, and he's starting to have an influence again in this quarter.
West Coast desperately trying to hang on to this lead with half-time approaching. Quinn won it down, but plenty of numbers around this. Lord was looking to work it out. Eventually Hewitt picks it up off the deck for the Eagles. And Flynn's kick was straight into traffic, ricocheted off a couple of Eagles, including them Hutchison and McCarthy, working his way through. Hutchison's done pretty well and then kicks the ball towards the wing, and up is Aliir. And he takes a good mark on the commentary wing for Port Adelaide.
Still a little proppy on that left knee, Aliir, but pops it back up. Big fly from Georgiades at the back. But at the front was Ollie Lord. A couple of bites. He wants it. The umpire said, no, I'm going to ball it up, 40 out.
Got to hold on here, West Coast. Last stoppage for the end of the quarter. Can't give away a score.
The umpire, free kick, is going to go the way of the Eagles, so that might be just what they need, and it is. And Flynn has the ball as we hit half-time. Port Adelaide 5-6-36. Trail Eagles by 11.75-47. 3 goals to 1 by Port in that term as they really started to get the momentum swing their way.
There's such a thing. The goal-kicking end. It's certainly the scoreboard, the cathedral end, because 9 of the goals have been kicked that way so far in this game. The goal kickers for West Coast to take an 11-point lead into half-time. They're all individuals. Liam Baker, Harley Reid, Tyler Brockman, Matt Flynn, Bailey J. Williams, Jack Williams and Terrell Dewar. While for Port Adelaide, their goals, couple to Mitch Georgiades and then singles to Miles Bergman, Darcy Byrne-Jones and Joe Richards. So, West Coast with a 25-point lead at quarter time. They had that cut to an 11-point lead at the half. Just checking in again before we hear from our experts with the score at the Docklands. Scores are level again. Rowan Marshall with a goal for St Kilda to bring them to 13-8-86 apiece. The Saints and the Swans with about 5 minutes to play in the final term at the Docklands. Earlier today, just repeating, Melbourne by 36 points over North Melbourne. But here at Adelaide Oval, well, it's been a half of 2 quarters, dare I say it that way, because West Coast outstanding in the first quarter and Port really hit back in that second term. What have our experts made of it on ABC Sport? Dean Brogan and Josh Franco.
Well, it's been you just said then, West Coast were brilliant in the first quarter. We knew Port Adelaide was still in the shed, so to speak, at quarter time. Got a bit of a talking to by Ken Hinkley and the coaching staff and came out and played some pretty good footy. Won the quarter, 3 goals to 1. You know, you could argue they should be in front. The coaches had a couple of shots. Mitch Georgiades missed one as well. So they got back to playing how we expect Port Adelaide to play. But if you're West Coast, you've had a fantastic first half. You would take that. You know, coming here, if you said you're going to be up by 2 goals and you're in the game and Butters has had 22 and Rosie's had 13 and you're still going to be in front at half-time, I'd tip my hat to West Coast. They've come into play and they've come to strangle Port Adelaide by this uncontested ball of kick mark and making Port Adelaide defend. It's worked so far, but they're going to have to keep playing that way or even more, because Port Adelaide are just going to keep coming and coming and coming, because they do have more talent on the field. So if you're West Coast, you regroup at half-time and you go again. But you'd be pretty happy if you're a West Coast coach or a supporter with that effort in the first half, Josh.
Absolutely, Bros. And we sort of mentioned at quarter time around the 3 sort of KPIs that sides look at in terms of things that have stood the test of time throughout the history of the AFL, and that's the tackles, the contested ball and the ground ball gets. And at the moment, they're all pretty even. So there's no real obvious trend either way for West Coast or Port Adelaide. The uncontested possessions is where West Coast got Port Adelaide in that first quarter and continued that trend. So it was 113-97 at half-time. But probably the area for Port Adelaide that got them back in the contest, and it's probably been a theme for the first half, is the clearance count, and the differential at the moment is 25-12. So Port Adelaide, their stoppage work has been outstanding. We mentioned at pre-game that was going to be a huge part of the the outcome of this game was the midfield battle. And at the moment, Port Adelaide's stoppage work has been outstanding. It's 25-12 at half-time. One area, and I think you said it, they've strangled Port Adelaide. The Power normally average up around 100 uncontested marks for a game. So at the moment, they've had 30 marks for the game, and that's for a half a footy. You double that, that's 60. So they've done a terrific job, West Coast, of minimising Port Adelaide's ability to own the ball. And and work their offence off the back of playing that uncontested mark game. And conversely, West Coast have been able to own the ball. But look, it's been an intriguing game, and hats off to the West Coast Eagles. I must admit, coming here and walking here into Adelaide Oval today, I didn't give them a hope in hell. I thought it was going to be lambs to the slaughter, but they got absolutely shell-shocked the power by the physicality, the intent, the ability to transition both defensively but more impressively offensively, and really hurt Port Adelaide. Port Adelaide has started to work their game and got their game going and got the game going on their terms for periods in that second quarter. But look, I tell you what, it probably reads that Port Adelaide are going to come out in the second half and get their game going and blow it open. But at the moment, it just doesn't feel like that. West Coast are hanging in there, and they're playing a pretty good brand of footy.
Another quick update for you for the Docklands before we take the latest from the ABC newsroom. St Kilda had a rush behind. They went ahead by 1. And then Errol Goulden has kicked a goal to give Sydney the lead, 14-8-92 to St Kilda, 13-9-87. That's with 3 and a bit to play. We'll give you that result when we come back after pausing here at Adelaide Oval with West Coast leading by 11 points here on ABC Sports coverage of Sunday Arvo footy. We'll pause and take the latest from the ABC newsroom.
ABC News. Good afternoon. I'm William Howard. The Prime Minister has reaffirmed Australia's defence spending arrangements in the face of continuing pressure from the US for further increases. The Trump administration is calling on allies to bolster their spending. On his visit to China, Anthony Albanese has responded to a question from a reporter about Washington's stance.
Australia is considerably increasing our defence spending, $57 billion over 10 years. We are increasing our defence spending and investment by more than $10 billion. We have contributed as well to AUKUS already.
Western Australia's Premier says the rescue of a German backpacker after 11 days in remote bushland is a testament to the hard work of emergency crews. Carolina Vilga remains in a Perth hospital after spending 11 nights wandering in remote bushland after her vehicle became stuck in a nature reserve. She's told police she opted to head west following the sun, drinking water from puddles and seeking whatever shelter she could find. The 26-year-old was located on a remote road more than 20 kilometres from her car late on Friday. Roger Cook has praised all those involved in the search.
These are always unfortunate circumstances, but they are also opportunities, and when you have a success like this, just to celebrate the human spirit, tenacity and the ability of our emergency services crews to be able to locate the person.
Queensland Premier David Crisafulli says a commission of inquiry will help get to the bottom of issues within the state branch of this CFMEU. The state government has announced the investigation in response to a report by the administrator which accuses the union leaders of fostering a culture of violence, intimidation and misogyny within the Queensland division. Mr Crisafulli says the inquiry will bring transparency.
This is Queensland's Royal Commission into the CFMEU and the bullying and the intimidation that has flourished in this state. This is the most powerful tool we as a government have to ensure that what we have seen comes to an end.
North Korean state media says the country's leader Kim Jong-un has given Russia his unconditional support on the war in Ukraine. He's told Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov, who's visiting North Korea, that Pyongyang stands by all measures taken by Moscow to tackle what he calls the root cause of the Ukrainian crisis. Western officials estimate North Korea has sent around 11,000 troops to Russia over the past year to fight Ukraine. The EU and Mexico have become the latest targets in Donald Trump's trade war, with the US president threatening them with 30% tariffs from next month. The BBC's Will Grant reports.
Once more, President Trump's threat of imminent tariffs on Mexico has been met by a call for calm by the Mexican president, and her reassurance to the Mexican people that an agreement will be reached. After Donald Trump's letter to her was made public, she repeated a line she has used in the past over US trade relations, urging calmer heads to prevail. So far, Claudia Sheinbaum has managed to avoid the imposition of the 30% tariffs on Mexican goods and having to impose one of her own in return.
Meanwhile, US President Donald Trump has taken to Truth Social to post a defence of his Attorney General Pam Bondi, who's under fire over the investigation into the death of accused sex trafficker Jeffrey Epstein and his alleged clientele. Larry Buttrose has more.
In the post, Mr. Trump says nobody cares about Epstein and no more time or energy must be wasted on the case. In a memo last week, the FBI and Justice Department said there was no evidence to support a number of theories about Epstein's death in federal custody in 2019 and his alleged clientele. Prominent conservatives, including Elon Musk and Laura Loomer, have criticised the findings after Ms. Bondi previously pledged major revelations about Epstein, but now finds no incriminating client list, nor that Epstein was murdered, rather than the official account of suicide.
In the NRL, the Warriors have bounced back from consecutive losses with a 34-14 victory over the West Tigers at Mount Smart Stadium. The Tigers had a strong start with a try in the opening minute, but the hosts' new halves pairing clicked. The Tigers remain 14th on the ladder. And in the AFL, Melbourne has claimed its 6th win of the AFL season with a 6-goal victory over North Melbourne. ABC News.
Every day, all around Australia, extraordinary people create moments that inspire. See them, hear them. All you have to do is nominate them at australianoftheyear.org.au.
Don't miss a minute of the action. Live from Wimbledon. On now.
Take it with you on the ABC Listen app.
This is the 2025 AFL Premiership season on ABC Sport.
Horn Francis, possession number 4 for him after a really uncharacteristically quiet first term. It's a great kick to Richards. He plays on his left foot. Port Adelaide need it, and Richards gives it to them. They've got their third.
Cleverly tapped on by Brockman. Slapped back into play by Owies to Baker. Kicks towards Bailey J. He can't mark. Scooped up by Champion. Hand pass again to Shanahan. Hand pass again to Baker, who kicks the goal. They'll rebound again here. Port from Bergman, who took a mark at left half forward. Into the left forward pocket and marking Georgiades. Setting himself up for the set snap. From about 35 metres out, 5 metres in. From the left boundary pocket, it is a thing of beauty. It sailed its way between the big sticks at the cathedral end of the ground.
Horn Francis again. Kick going forward. Mark not completed by Lukosius. Here's a chance for Butters. Handball over the top. Can Burn Jones finish? He can. That is a spectacular goal.
This is ABC Sports coverage of the AFL.
On your radio.
ABC Sport Digital.
And on the ABC Listen app.
The West Coast Eagles lead Port at Adelaide Oval by 11 points, 7-5-47 to 5-6-36. Mark Soderstrom will have some of the numbers for you in just a moment, but hopefully this game ends up being a thriller like we've just seen play out at the Docklands. Here's the closing stages for you between the Saints and the Swans.
Ball between the wing and half forward. Saints into attack, trailing by 5. Hasty has a play at the stoppage. It spills loose. Woods there, backtracks, gives it to Hasty. The youngster feigns once, twice, thrice. Goes the fend off, gets the kick away as he's slung up toward half forward. And a diving mark is taken for Sydney. Is it Jordan who's picking himself up off the turf? It is. He half-winded himself as he lunged forward to take the mark. He sends it wide, right out toward the boundary line. Grundy does the right thing, punches it across. And on the centre of the city wing, we will have a stoppage. And maybe one last roll of the dice here for the Saints. They trail by 5. It is Sydney 14-8, St Kilda 13-9. And the ball to be tossed back in right on halfway.
What a final quarter we've had. Grundy palms it down to Jordan. Hand pass to Warner. This is exactly what the Swans need. Just a long kick inside 50, a one-on-one. Wilkie doing battle with Buller, who will win out. Wilkie just pushes Buller off it. Hasty comes in to help him. Hand pass to Wilkie. They've got a shot here, St Kilda, if they can go. The kick to McRae is just ducking and weaving through the centre of the ground. A long kick inside 50 for the Saints. They need a mark. They don't get it. The siren, and it is Sydney that has won by 5 points.
Goodness me, what a finish that was. Well called by Lauren Borden and Joel Peterson. So the Swans, for whatever it's worth, they keep their very slim but nonetheless mathematical chances of playing finals intact. 14-8-92 to 13-9-87. What a win. They trailed by 19 points, the Swans, and then were able to work their way back into the game, beating St Kilda by 5. They remain in 10th. They're 3 wins out of the 8. But Sydney have now won, apart from that one loss to the Western Bulldogs in round 6. They've won 4 of their past 5 games, 2 in a row after beating Fremantle at the SCG and then St Kilda. And they would also think they've got a winnable game next up against North Melbourne at the SCG. Then it is, battle the bridge, the Sydney Derby. Call it what you will, the Giants in round 20. After that. So the Sydney Swans, they remain in the hunt for finals action in 2025. Our focus returns here to Adelaide Oval, where West Coast still leads 7-5 to 5-6. What are some of the other numbers? Tell us, Mark Sotis from here on ABC Sport.
West Coast looking for their second win of the year. They lead by 11 points. Now, they're 6 goals to 2 in the first term, out by 25. Port worked their way back in. 3 goals to 1 in the second term, so that leaves us at 11 points right now. Inside 50 count, West Coast 27-25. Contested possession, Port Adelaide +3. Clearances, this is where there's a big gap. Port Adelaide 25-12. And some of the important ball getters for Port in that clearance area. Zach Butters has been absolutely terrific. He's had 4 clearances. We've seen Ollie Wines with 5, Horn Francis with 3. Butters had 14 touches in the first term. He's out to 23 now. He has been just sensational with his change of pace. For West Coast, Harley Reid's had 16. He's been really, really busy. But right now you can feel that momentum switch. Our experts, Port Adelaide superstars, Josh Franco and also Dean Brogan. And there's been this real change we can see in that momentum, Josh.
Absolutely there has. And we saw it almost sort of halfway through that second quarter, early in the second quarter, where Port Adelaide started to get a little bit of momentum. They started to get field position, as you said, off the back of those stoppage and clearance wins, and they were able to capitalise on that. And as we sit here now at half-time, the margin's 11 points. Port Adelaide and their coaching staff would be a lot happier than what they were at quarter-time, Dean. And they've just got to continue on playing the brand of footy that they want to play. And in terms of the West Coast Eagles, they've been gallant up until this point in time. But really important second half of footy here. Only the one win for the season. They've got to put in a good showing in this second half.
Yeah, look, still a long way to go, as we know. A whole half of footy to play, and Port Adelaide were definitely the better team in that quarter. But like we said with West Coast, they've got to even up this clearance battle, because off the back of that, that's how Port Adelaide are getting field position, and they're prime movers in Butters and Horn Francis and Rosie, and Ollie Wines was good that quarter as well. Port's midfield really got on top and started to get a bit more efficient coming out of their clearances. First quarter they were winning clearances, but they were dump kicking it. They were just getting that extra handball out to the outside, which we know with Port Adelaide, once they get you on the outside, they can kill you in terms of that outside to inside 50 football. But West Coast, look, it's there for them tonight. They're up for the fight. Everywhere else, it's pretty. You went through the stats before then, Soda. All the other stats are pretty even. Contested ball's been good. Contested, ground ball gets have been good. The disposal count's pretty even. Harley Reid's having a really good game. Owies has been good. Baker's been good. Hewitt, as we know, he's got a lot of talent. He's been pretty good. But Port Adelaide just look a little bit better in terms of how they get the ball out of clearance. And they're going to have to do something about Zach Butters. He's on target for 50 possessions, and you're just going to have to try to keep him on the inside and make it really hard for him, because at the moment he's absolutely torching West Coast.
Well, the other thing as well, from where the game's sort of balanced at the moment, you just feel Port Adelaide are going to come out and flex their muscles. That's just got that feel to me, and that's why I think it's such a big half of footy for West Coast in terms of their development. They can't, not preempting anything, but they can't sort of roll over and let Port Adelaide dictate the rest of this game. They were terrific in the first quarter. They've got to bring the same intent. They've got to limit Port Adelaide's uncontested marks, which they were able to do successfully in that first half. And Port Adelaide, as we said before the break, they normally average about 100 for the game, and at the moment they're sitting on 30. So that's 60 for the game. So if they can strangle Port Adelaide in terms of the way they want to move the ball, if they can start to get their hands on the ball at the clearance and get field position off the back of that, you never know what can happen. But a really important half of footy for both teams.
There's going to have to be a big stat overcome by one of these teams. Port 0-7 this year after losing the first term, while West Coast, sorry to Eagles fans listening in, the worst second half team in the competition, and by some margin too. They've lost the second half by an average of 23 points this year. They've only won 3 third terms and only 2 final terms this year. So the Eagles are going to have to find a way to turn that around if they're to hang on. Currently, get their way to a second victory under coach Andrew McQualter, their second win season 2025.
But Clint, the big ticket item, and you mentioned it, is Zach Butters. They've got to somehow nullify, and I don't know who the person is that goes to him, but they've got to clamp in because he's the absolute game breaker here for Port Adelaide. And as we look, they've pulled the trigger on Connor Rosie going into the midfield. Played half back. He's now starting on ball. So hold on to your hats, West Coast Eagles fans.
So we're about to get this second half underway. The Eagles with an 11-point lead. They had their 25-point advantage at quarter time, cut back to just under 2 goals as Port surged in that second term. Neither team's made the substitutions as yet. Long for the Eagles and Lorenz for Port Adelaide. And of course the Eagles with a really disrupted start. They lost Jack Graham after he was suspended for 4 weeks earlier today by the AFL for a homophobic slur. Conduct unbecoming in the game against GWS. So 5 changes for the Eagles. Can they hang on to this lead? Will Port hit back? Here's Mark Soderstrom to find out.
And to answer your question, Josh, Franco Brady Hoff has gone straight to Zach Butters. The ball is up and it's taken straight down to Hutchison and Drew, and they wrap each other up. He is following, Hoff is following Butters everywhere he goes as Flynn takes it out the centre. Just tries a little clearing kick. Only gone as far as Hoff.
Well, the big thing, I reckon, from Hoff's perspective, he's got to have Zach Butters trying to fight him. So he's got to be physical with him, take away his ability to rip through the stoppages and be really aggressive on him.
Sweet tapped it down. Horn-Francis tried to take it with him, couldn't. And free kick's going to go to Burn Jones.
Sometimes when you stir up Zach Butters, he plays better, though. That's the problem.
Well, he can be undisciplined at times as well.
Well, he's got it. And a little chipping kick is outstanding. Horn-Francis ran forward of the footy. The kick was perfect to space from Butters, and Horn-Francis has taken it 40 out directly in front. Great start for Port Adelaide.
Well, interesting as well, when you talk Zach Butters, I reckon you think first words that come to mind, aggressive, he's in and under, but his ability and composure with the ball to find a target is as good as there is in the competition. He's unbelievable.
Well, that's why he should be kicking the ball more than what he handles. I say it every week with him. He's one of the best kicks in the AFL.
Yep.
And that's just what we've seen here to Jason Horn-Francis, who came alive in that second term after only having 2 touches in the opening quarter. From 40 out, Horn-Francis draws it. Port Adelaide, perfect start a minute in. They now lead. They are now 5 points within the lead. So West Coast 7-5, 47 Port 6-6, 42. And you're listening to ABC Sports Sunday Arvo footy.
Well, Butters is having a night out. I know they've gone pretty hard with him with the tag, but he somehow got free, and somehow Jason Horn-Francis taken an uncontested mark 35 metres out in front of goal. Signs aren't looking good for West Coast. They dominated for a quarter and a bit, but it's really been Port Adelaide for the most of the second quarter, and the first 5 minutes of this quarter it's starting to look a little bit ominous for West Coast.
Major concerns for West Coast here. Port look like they are really starting to come into this game. They've been dominating. We headed towards half-time. Hoff alongside Butters, they push and shove as Flynn wins the tap down in the middle. Came out to Hall, immediately tackled. Just got a hand pass out to Reid. Well done by Rosie, though. Reid moved it on to Hoff. Then back to Clay Hall. He'll kick the Eagles inside forward 50. Big fly from the side, not quite from Cripps. Spills out the back, though. Trying to get onto it, Baker gathers and then immediately tackled by Zerk Thatcher. Ball up at full forward for the Eagles.
Tell you what, Reid's work at that centre bounce was outstanding as well. His ability to get out of traffic and penetrate the game forward.
Sweet one it down. Jack Williams tries to kick over his shoulder. Only goes as far as a Lear. Moved it on then to Liddy. Kicks beyond defensive 50. 2-on-1 in favour of West Coast. And the third man in the line was Dewar. And he takes the mark. Jinby wants it short. Stands up against the boundary at left hard forward. Jewell works himself onto his right boot. Kicks the Eagles towards full forward. Front position. That's a great grab. Going through to mark Jack Williams. He kicked a goal earlier today. And remember, he was dropped and got the reprieve with the suspension to Jack Graham. And he's trying to make every post a winner this evening now.
Just got a good run at it. And Thatcher was just off him a little bit. The ball dropped a little bit shorter, and it allowed Williams to have a real good run and jump at it and caught it at its highest peak. Great mark.
Tighter than a 45-degree angle to the left. He'll be kicking from about 35 metres out. We're right behind the kick. Jack Williams begins his approach, and he kicks the goal for West Coast. They get the immediate reply in this third term. 4 minutes into the third. West Coast had their eighth. They move to be 8-5-53. Port 6-6-42. This is Sunday Arvo footy on ABC Sport. Your callers Clint Wilden alongside Mark Soderstrom, and our experts Josh Franco and Dean Brogan.
Well, can't Broggs be overstated how important that reply was. Port Adelaide coming out after the break. They carried momentum into the halftime. Major change. Kicked the first goal, but as we said, the work inside from Harley Reid was outstanding. Just his ability and his composure in traffic to get that ball to the second layer of the stoppage and then get speed on it was just superb play there from the West Coast Eagles. So much needed reply. Keeps that margin manageable at the moment as well.
Jack Williams making the most of his reprieve, and we're back to where we started at half-time, 11 points. Sweet and Flynn, it is the latter that gets the tap down, only as far as Drew. Gives it to Horne-Francis, who's really starting to rake them up. Reid goes to him. Horne-Francis' kick. Taken by Dewar. Did really well at half-back. Picks it up, pumps it forward.
Great
Terrific kick to Brockman. Gives it to Reid. He's taken down by Bergman. Gets a handball out the Cripps. Under pressure. Just shoots it straight up in the air, and it's going to go close to the line. Travis Poke sees it out where the arc of the paint hits the boundary line right in front of the scoreboard.
Was that Dewar's kick then?
It was a brilliant kick.
Was that intentional?
I think so, yeah.
Unbelievable
kick.
Yep.
Ball spun in, right half forward for the Eagles. Win front position, won it down against Sweet. Ball comes to Reid, got tackled and dispossessed by Drew. Umpires spotted a free kick. It's West Coast way. Taken a little bit high here was Reid. Off Rose, the yellow, Sheeran back to him.
Been good, Reid. He's been really good. Watching him live for the first time, he looks really good.
He's going to be a very, very good player. An exceptional talent. Kicks into the right forward pocket. Alir brings it to ground. Spilled out towards Farrell. Kicks Port towards left half back. Reid couldn't mark. Up against Horne-Francis, who tries to gather. Reid follows him up. Applies pressure. Horne-Francis moved it on, but straight to Brockman. He was under real pressure. Eventually it comes out through Boak. Port have it again here. Horne-Francis, lovely hand pass to Farrell. Got away from Cole. Sweeping hand pass to Burne-Jones. They go through the corridor, Port. He'll chip it short into the left forward pocket. Here's Lord looking to switch it out towards Liddy, who marks 50 from goal. Liddy into the right forward pocket. He goes, and Georgiades just got away from Jinby. And he marks 45 outs in the right forward pocket, just tighter than a 45-degree angle to the right.
How's the handball from Horne-Francis to Zach Butters off the half-back line? Butters did not break stride, arched his back, and that's what broke it open. And brilliant vision from Ollie Lord to switch it across the play to Liddy, I think. Gives a good shot for Miss Georgiades.
He's looking for his third. Georgiades already with two tonight. Steers it towards goal, and he's pushed it right. A minor score. 2 goals, 1 out of bounds on the full. Well for him. Got 3 behinds.
Butters up to 25. That dynamic work that he had. Here's a chance now. Dewar goes to Cole. He runs along from half-back, delivers it to Flynn. He's got support from Marrick right in front of the interchange gates. Long ball onto Owies, and he drops it in nicely. Doesn't give Alir a chance, and the mark's been taken by Shanahan. 18 years of age, moves beautifully. Just game number 3, kicked 2 last week against GWS. He drills the kick in, and he's burnt it, and it's been cut off for Port Adelaide by Rosie.
Trying to be too precise, Shanahan. As Port from Bergman, game 100, head towards left half back with his kick. It's over the boundary line for a throw-in.
Yeah, not the kick, was it, Clint? It had numbers back, Port Adelaide. It was always going to be an impossible kick to hit someone inside forward 50 and, yeah, paid the price for being a little bit too ambitious.
Let's head downstairs to the boundary. Braden Ingram.
Yeah, the rain appears to be done, likely for the rest of the day. Still a slippery surface. The players will have to contend with the two subs. Still yet to be used. Noah Lung for the Eagles and Will Lorenz for the Power.
Power goes surging away, but they won the tap. Wines had it, gave it to Jones. Long, deep kick inside forward 50. Jimby, good spoil against Georgiades. Spilled it out towards Dewar. Got the arms free of the attempted tackle onto Edwards. Clearing kick towards right half back. Hutchison, terrific grab. Diving to his right. He was able to just drag the ball in one arm, and he's up against one of the best out there in Butters. That is a great mark.
You don't see Zach Butters get outmarked too often.
And how good was Jimby? We called it. He was great. He was superb, wasn't he, Georgiades?
Hutchison kicks to a pack on the outer wing, front position, and then dragging it in. That is a fine mark again. They're continuing to build here, and Sweets has been busy both in the ruck and around the ground. He's got it at left half back for Port.
Long kick by Sweet to half forward. The coach has just moved out.
Got to be better there.
By Edwards. Edwards has taken 9 marks. He's
been fantastic. You called it, Josh.
Yeah.
He's just got to be better there, Lukosius. He's highly recruited. He's given nothing today, to be honest.
Handball to Dewar. He goes into the corridor. They turn it over. Richards goes forward. Tough for Bazzo against Georgiades. He's done well. And then he's just given him the Paul Orndorff WWF throw to the ground. And the ball is dribbled out of bounds. And the Port Adelaide fans want a free kick. Wow. And they're not going to get it.
That should have been a free kick. They paid. The umpires pay those dump tackles now.
Ooh, he did have one arm free, but it was ugly. That's what might save Bazzo. The right arm was free. So the power player went to ground. Sweet wins it down in the restart. Trying to shovel it out here. It's been locked in. Bazzo again, the battle of the 33s. Tackled by Burn-Jones. Ball up again. Deep into attack for Port. Ali J. Williams palmed it down. Burn-Jones couldn't quite gather. Scooped up by Georgiades. Threw it on the boot. Which way will it bounce into the left-hand goal post? It's clattered into the padding. Another minor score. 9 points the margin now. West Coast still in front. We've gone 11 into the third.
Cole takes it, goes quickly to Edwards. He's kicked to the outer wing, and it's been cut off by Burgoyne, fresh off that new 4-year deal, and out of bounds, out of side.
Tell you one player that looks disinterested is Willie Rioli today. He's only had 1 disposal, 0 tackles, and 0 influence ahead of the footy. Needs to get going for Port Adelaide's sake.
Josh Franco, Dean Brogan, your experts. Bailey Williams in the ruck, taken by Butters. Quick hands, comes out to Jones. Couldn't take possession. At half forward for Port Adelaide. Taken by Richards, got it from Hutchison. There it is, Rioli's heard Josh Franco. He goes, have a look at this kick, Josh.
There.
He delivered it beautifully to Bergman. He dropped it, he's got time to get around on his right. And blows it through for a behind. Willie knows what's going on. It's actually gone out of bounds. And Josh Franco, you willed him into the contest.
If Bergman had opened his mouth, he would have swallowed it. At least he got his hands on it.
Jimby takes the free kick beyond defensive 50, but he turns it over, and up is Jones marking for Port. Now shy of right half forward. He'll put it back from whence it came into the right forward pocket. Cole was there. That might almost be out of bounds. Just touched over the top of the behind line before it goes for a boundary throw-in. And down there somewhere is Braden Ingram. Braden.
Jason Horne-Francis might have kicked that goal, but that left foot issue is still just giving him a little bit of trouble. He's on the bench and preparing to come back on, but he's stretching it out and still chatting to the medico, so I imagine he's playing through a bit of pain.
Throw in right forward pocket for Port. Sweet tapped it back towards the boundary line, and Reid was happy enough with the other 9 in Butters right behind him to see it over the line. Gets the boos every time he touches the footy, Harley Reid.
And just back on Rioli, he's the sort of player that can turn a game on its head. Have 0 impact, but in the space of 2 or 3 minutes can turn the game on its head.
Sweet wins it against Bailey J. Out to the side to Wines. Came to Richards! 35 out right in front. He snapped it through with the left. Joe Richards with his second. That's a fine finish for Port Adelaide. And they're within a goal of the West Coast Eagles. The margin now 3 points. West Coast 8-5-53, Port 7-8-50, 13 gone in the third. Sunday night footy now. The lights are on at Adelaide Oval on ABC Sport. Our experts, Dean Brogan, Josh Franco.
Well, Bro, just looking at the numbers, again, the clearance differential in favour of Port Adelaide is hurting the West Coast Eagles. And again, on that occasion, a forward 50 stoppage for the Power, resulting in a goal to Richards. And they've got to somehow do something about it, whether they bring extra numbers around the footy, but they just can't seem to get field position off the back of clearance win because they can't get their hands on the footy at the stoppage.
It was just too easy.
Yeah.
You know, your back 50, you should be red alert on high alert. It was just too easy for Port Adelaide. But isn't Richards starting? We know why Port Adelaide have got this Richards. He looks like he's going to be a fine player. He's a great finisher on his left. Kicked 2 goals on his left today.
Yeah, 12 goals for Richards for the season after coming from Collingwood. Kicked forward by West Coast. Out of the centre comes to Williams. He got it from Baker. Hutchison. 60 out, just goes forward. Bergman takes it, picks it up and runs, delivers the ball out to the members' side. He was looking for Richards, and he gets away from Cole. Wines gives it to Liddy, and his kick is perfect. But Georgiades just bounced off the chest.
What a kick by Liddy. You're not going to get any better kicks than that.
Oh, should have
actually hit him on the chest.
It did.
Hit him on the chest and bounced off the thigh.
Brilliant kick. Porter humming now. They got their game going. They look like the better side now.
Thrown in. Flint palmed it down. Read by Horn Francis. Lost it. Tackled by Flint. Came out the side. Rosie shoveling it out. He's stayed down for a moment, Rosie. That will be concerned to Port Adelaide. Farrell kicks into the right forward pocket. Going to ground. That was the big cheer. Georgiades. No free kick paid. Picked up by Wines. Hard up against the boundary. Swept it inboard to Lukosius. Goes back to Drew. Drew hands it back again to Horn Francis. 48 from goal. Sends it long towards the sticks, but sends it to the right and he misses. It's a minor score.
Set down to Braden Ingram on the boundary. The skipper has come off holding that wrist.
Yeah, it's his left hand. It could possibly be a dislocation. He's just sat down now as the doctors go to work on him.
He's quick to get off Rosie and get that sorted. So we're within 2 points. West Coast holding on. Little kick comes out of defence from Duggan. And Hutchison has it in the back pocket. Members' side.
They got to do something. You've called it, Josh. They got to do something about these clearances. They're minus 18 for the game in clearances. They're not going to win the football game to start even that up.
Bailey Williams flies, goes over the back, and Flynn chases it. Goes a little kick off the deck. Port Adelaide want to deliver it, and they get it. That is stiff because he can't really control it off the deck, but Jones has it and gives it to Aaliyah. The Butters at half-back. Looks forward, good kick towards Boak. Marriott going back, Boak protected the space and allowed Richards to run into it. His kick towards Lord, over the top. And a free kick's going to go the way of the Eagles. It'll go to Jinby, who's battled honestly, 20 years of age.
He's been all right, hasn't he?
57, he's been terrific.
Really has developed a half-back to a big-bodied midfielder and now to a terrific defender. Goes with high hopes for him from here as the ball's from Cole to Duggan into the right back pocket to Dewar.
Clint, the worrying signs for the West Coast Eagles: contested ball, ground ball, gets tackle count, all in favour of Port Adelaide, inside 50s, and now the uncontested ball in favour of the Power.
The outer side it comes, and an opportunity to build up again through Zerk Thatcher. Runs into the middle of the ground for Port. Kicks towards right half forward. This will be a good battle here. Bazo putting his body over it. Harassed by Jackson, who wins the contest. Keeps it in play. Picks it up. Kicks inside forward. 50. Oh, Georgiades dropped the mark. He should have taken again. It hits the deck. Paul tried to work it out. It's going to be locked in here. And a ball up the core. Was there anything untoward in that, or did Georgiades just not take it?
I think he just dropped it, yeah.
He did.
West Coast are really fumbling in their back 50, aren't they? Yep. When they're exiting, they're fumbly, they're a bit slow. They're really on the back foot.
That one down, came to Jackson, back to Richards, works onto his left. We know how dangerous he can be, but this bounces at left full forward and tumbles across for a throw-in right next to the behind post. Just recapping that score, the Eagles lead by 2 points, 8-5-53 to Port, 7-9-51, 18 gone in the third term. Sunday night footy on ABC Sport. Clint Wilden alongside Mark Soderstrom in commentary.
In the forward pocket, Lord flies over the top of Flynn, and a free kick is going to go to Flynn in game number 50, saying that Lord infringed with a hand on the shoulder. He gives off to Cole, and he tries to run the member side, then decides to go back, gives it to Hutchison, who juggles it in front of Rioli. And
they're under the pump, aren't they, here, the West Coast?
Can't get down to their back 50.
Nah.
The Hutchison looks up. He hasn't got a lot to work with and decides to go down the line. Out of side, the fly came from Lord, and big tackle from Jones. Liddy gets it, gives it to Horne-Francis. Butters 1-2. Back to Horne-Francis, stabs the kick. He's looking in the direction of Lukosius. Didn't have enough on it, and it dribbles out of bounds. And it's been a tough day for Jack as his second game after 3 goals last week in his return against Brisbane.
Bros, you talk about West Coast not being able to exit their D50. At the moment, it's played in Port Adelaide's forward half. Inside 50's 12-6. Port Adelaide's way.
They're hanging on by their fingernails, West Coast, and the umpire spotted a free kick. Which way is it going? They're having a discussion. Spotted it here. It's going to come back to Butters. Now, hand on heart, I have no clue what that was for. And I'm not sure the umpires were entirely convinced, because there was a bit of a mid-pitch discussion for about 5 seconds while they worked out how this was going to go. Oh, it's Butters had a bit to say with Dewar, and Dewar swung his left arm and got Butters in the back of the neck. So it's for high contact against Dewar, which would be just so frustrating for the Eagles coaching box, because he's given Butters a shot at goal. 45-degree angle to the right. He'll kick from 45 out. Here comes Butters. We're right behind the kick. He's pushed it right. It's a 1-point ball game. West Coast by 1. Into time on in the third. Let's go downstairs. Braden Ingram.
Power skipper Connor Rosie now has one of his left fingers. You might be seeing a binoculars strapped up. He's still chatting with the doctor, so it's a bit uncomfortable. He's trying to practice some handballs, but he's still not ready to come back on.
Zerk Thatcher marked the kick out, puts Port back into attack. Richards the target.
West Coast just can't win a contest. When they exit out of their back 50, they're not winning that next contest at all. They can't even halve it and get another stoppage. Port Adelaide just winning it and pumping it back inside 50. It's all played in Port Adelaide's front half this quarter. They've got to start winning some 50-50s down the line, West Coast.
21 minutes gone. It's the Eagles by a point at half forward for Port Adelaide. Throw in, comes down Liddy. Taken by Dewar. He's held him down onto the ground, so the ball will be thrown up here by Lenny Glufstis.
Well, eventually the dam wall breaks too, doesn't it? You get enough inside 50, shots will come off the back of it.
Sweet Horne-Francis comes through. Just works his way through a couple of Eagles defenders, but the umpire said, well, you can't have 4 goes of getting rid of it, and the free kick's going to go to the Eagles at half-back. Clay Hall.
And the Eagles find a way through this black, white and teal wall. It goes to Marrick, out towards Champion, who marks. He's got it on the wing and kicks towards right half forward. That is a disappointing kick down the throat of Zerk Thatcher. He was the only player within about 4 metres there at left half back for Port. He takes a simple mark, and then this is a free kick that's going to come down the ground.
They've had some undisciplined free kicks against them, haven't they, West Coast today? It's been very disappointing.
A 50-metre penalty, which they used by playing on quickly. Port, it comes to Farrell. Farrell thumping kick into the left forward pocket. Good spoil from Edwards at the back. Down in the direction of Flynn. Out towards Bazzo. He was taken high. That was definitely there against Lord, despite the protestations of the Port Adelaide fans. So the Eagles still clinging just to this 1-point lead. From the right back pocket, they head towards the outer wing. Zerk Thatcher attacked the football, couldn't mark. Tap forward by West Coast into the hands of Reid. He'll just thump it forward. Anywhere would do for a moment. Into space at right half forward. Trying to get their champion. Ali was there first. Handed it off to Burgoyne. Ran straight into Shanahan. That should be holding the ball. It is.
They've got to go quick here.
Going to head down to Braden Ingram on the boundary.
Huge story here. The power captain, Connor Rosie, is out of the game. He's just sat at the back of the bench with that left hand injury. I'll have more on it shortly.
Will Lorenz could come in now. The sub as the tackle on Baker is good, and the free kick's going to go to the power. And the crowd love it. They're coming alive as the momentum really shifts Port Adelaide's way. Farrell, terrific.
Yeah, Baker would like his time again. Led up at the kicker. Probably should have taken the mark, but dropped it, and the ball stayed live, and he paid the price again for holding on to it too long.
Big fly from Georgiades. On the wing, takes the mark, gets moving quickly. Bazzo just hammers Bill Francis out of the way. He gives it to Richards. He runs into an open goal and burns it.
Well, they've had some opportunities, Port, to really put West Coast away, but the inaccurate kicking is keeping them in it. And like you said early in the game, Josh, Mitch Georgiades can sit on your head. He can get you on the lead. Well, he sat on someone's head there, and he's a terrific mark of the footy, isn't he?
Scores are level. The last 4 scores have been to Port. They've all been behinds.
The problem for West Coast now is they just don't look like scoring, do they? They can't get it past halfway, but they just don't look like scoring.
53 points apiece between Port and West Coast. 24 gone in the third. The Eagles will have it across half back.
Now they need to go.
Rising is Marrick, and they do. They'll head out towards Reed. The ball will bounce on centre wing. Reed battles with Drew, and Drew sees it towards the boundary line. He was able to knock it away. It's going to be insufficient intent.
Looking at it, I reckon that's the right call. I reckon that is, looking at the replay.
There's about 25,000 Port supporters.
Don't agree with you.
I would argue, under the law, he hasn't shown enough intent to keep the ball in play. He's knocked it away towards the boundary line, and it's an Eagles free kick. But I understand if you're a Port fan, you're not going to see it that way. The kick is into the right forward pocket, off a pack, spilled out in the direction of Flynn, who then sees it over the boundary line, and immediately the Power fans call for the same. Not to be in front of the scoreboard. It's going to be thrown in right forward pocket for West Coast, who haven't been down here that often in this term.
I was just about to say, some time and forward up for West Coast they desperately need. Haven't seen a stoppage in their forward line this whole quarter, so they finally get one. Can they lock it in for a bit?
Inside 50s, 14-8 this term in favour of Port Adelaide. It's thrown in, and quickly another pack forms. They will have it reset. 30 out, 45-degree angle. Out of side as the ball comes down from Sweet. Knocked off the contest was Butters. Again, Burgoyne holds Baker up, and we'll have it reset now. 40 out. It's been a way for Port Adelaide to work their way back in. It was a 25-point margin in favour of the Eagles at quarter time, 11 at the half. And we're now all square. Ball comes down to Horn Francis, who's really worked in. Gives it to Rioli. Misses it, picked up by Cripps. Delivers the kick. Mark couldn't be taken by Shanahan. Comes back to him, sells a little bit of candy, and then goes on the outside of the right foot. He was trying to defy physics there. Through for a behind, so West Coast lead by that behind. 8-6-54, Port 7-11. 53-26 gone in the third quarter. Sunday night footy, ABC Sport.
Just sticking around West Coast. They lead by that point. Would have had all the play. They've butchered some opportunities by dropping marks and missing chances in front of goal. As Farrell kicks towards the outer wing, and that's a good mark. Edwards is up, and he might have worn one in the eye as well. Nothing untoward about it, just in the marking contest. Goes back, just wipes the right eye on a couple of occasions, then blinks, and it's not because of the lights he's got the problem. He'll kick into the right forward pocket for West Coast. Shanahan!
Oh, this kid's going to be good, isn't he? Well, Edwards has had 10 marks as well. He's dominating back there, but this kid, Shanahan, big raps on him. Third game. That's a terrific mark.
He's got big mitts, and he dragged it in. 40 out from goal. True 45-degree angle to the right.
Well, this is huge. If they can kick this and go into quarter time with a bit of momentum, you give them every chance, Josh.
It would be the dictionary definition of against the run of play if Shanahan can kick this. He strides in. Kicks on its way. And the Eagles will celebrate. Joe Shanahan, he's got his first of the night and his fourth in what is now a 3-game AFL career. And he gives the Eagles a 7-point lead at what is the 28-minute mark of the third. They were somehow able to absorb so much Port Adelaide pressure, and then they found at last an avenue to goal. More from our experts, Dean Brogan and Josh Franco, in just a moment, but let's first head downstairs. Brayden Ingram on the boundary.
Just a further update on Connor Rosie's injury. So the medicos tried to strap up his left fingers, his middle finger and his ring finger, but he was actually pointing, showing teammates that it was further back in his hand. So it is a hand issue. Clearly the concern would be a break. He's out of the game and the sub, Will Lorenz, has come in.
Well, Bro, you called it a couple of minutes ago that West Coast needed to get some forward half territory. I reckon for the first time that quarter got a repeat entry through a good contested mark on the outer wing from Edwards, and then the re-entry, the mark inside, shot on goal. Good play, West Coast. Much needed.
2 goals apiece in this third term. It's the Eagles by 7. They are weathering the storm. Ball up and straight away they've got to reset.
They've got to win this clearance here too, Soda.
Sweet v. Williams. It's gone straight down to Brockman. He's got past Sweet. He can't get past Bergman. And that was terrific defensive work by the newly signed Victorian Bergman. Goes long into attack. Georgiades flies, can't take it. Comes down towards Richards. Dewar has got it. Richards wraps him up. And the umpire
good decision.
Is going to give Richards the free kick at tight angle, 20 out.
That's the right decision. Yep.
He tried to fend off Richards in the tackle. That's considered Pryor holding the ball.
Yep.
It started from this stoppage. He just needed to surge it, and back to the stoppage before. He just needed to surge it and get the ball inside 50. He tried to take on the tacklers and got caught holding the ball, which has led to this Port Adelaide opportunity with, 40 seconds to go in the quarter.
Richards has 2. Played 9 games with Collingwood. Port Adelaide were really keen to get him, and he hasn't let them down. He's been a terrific recruit. Tight angle, right behind where we can ride this. Richards needs it and puts it across the
that's
front.
A bad miss.
That is a little let off. So 1 straight kick. It's the Eagles by 6 points. 9-6-60 Port. 7-12-54. 30 minutes gone here in the third quarter. And it is ABC Sport, your Sunday night footy. Josh Franco and Dean Brogan with you.
They have kicked in this quarter 2 goals, 6 Port. The West Coast 2 goals, 1, and Port have had all of the field position and all of the possession. West Coast through Jinby, kicks beyond defensive 50. Sint tried to fly, couldn't, spill down to Aliir, kicked around the body. Cole was under pressure, got tackled. Has a little bit to say afterwards with Butters. Teammates go in just to separate them. And somehow West Coast have found themselves hanging on. Tremendous effort for West Coast to absorb that pressure, but they would also be very aware that Port spurned some chances in that third term. Couple of drop marks, some bad misses in front of goal. But nonetheless, the Eagles will go into the final term and they'll go in front by 6 points. The goal kickers for West Coast, 2 to Jack Williams, singles to Baker, Reid, Brockman, Flynn, Bailey J. Williams, Shanahan and Dewar. While for Port Adelaide, Georgiades has 2, should probably have 5. Bergman's got 1, Horn Francis with 1, Burne-Jones with 1, and Joe Richards has got a couple as well. It's West Coast by 6 points. The other games today, earlier on, Sydney by 5 points over St Kilda and Melbourne by 36 over North. But wherever you're listening, we're here at Adelaide Oval on ABC Radio, Sport Digital and streaming on the ABC Listen app. This is Sunday Night Footy on ABC Sport.
As each day begins,
get the facts you need to stay informed.
Every day, across your day.
Stay with Australia's trusted news source.
all the latest, all verified.
Stay in the know with ABC News.
On ABC TV and ABC iView.
This is the 2025 AFL Premiership season on ABC Sport.
Well, he's got it, and a little chipping kick is outstanding. Horn Francis ran forward of the footy. The kick was perfect to space from Butters, and Horn Francis has taken it from 40 out. Horn Francis drills it. Port Adelaide, perfect start a minute in.
Dewar, and he takes the mark. Jinby wants it short, stands up against the boundary at left hard forward. Dewar works himself onto his right boot, kicks the Eagles towards full forward. Front position, that's a great grab. Going through to mark Jack Williams. Jack Williams begins his approach and he kicks the goal for West Coast. Sweet wins it against Bailey J. Out to the side to Wines. Came to Richards. 35 out right in front. He snapped it through with the lens. Joe Richards with his second. Edwards is up and he might have worn one in the eye as well. He'll kick into the right forward pocket for West Coast. Shanahan! He strides in. Hicks on its way. And the Eagles will celebrate. Joe Shanahan.
This is ABC Sports coverage of the AFL.
On your radio.
ABC Sport Digital.
And on the ABC Listen app.
So we go into the final term with the two worst fourth quarter sides in the competition, separated by 6 points. Port and West Coast have both won just two final terms this year. Who will prevail? The Eagles, I can't believe it, but they lead by 6 points as they try to win just their second game of 2025. 9-6-60 to 7-12-54. What a thriller we've had here at Adelaide Oval. Let's get the thoughts of our experts, Josh Franco and Dean Brogan.
Well, Brokes, we mentioned at half-time the main break that potentially Port Adelaide come out and flex their muscles. They tried to, and they did. They dominated field position off the back of clearance win, particularly in that mid-stoppage scenario. But they just couldn't convert. They kicked 2 goals, 6 from 15 inside 50s. And to West Coast Eagles, they went inside 59 times for 2 goals, 1. But one of the stats that I want to talk about is just their ability to score from stoppage, Port Adelaide, and it's been such a domination. So at the moment, the clearance count is 37-17. Keeping in mind the clearance count at centre bounce is pretty even. And in terms of scores from stoppage, ball ups and boundary throw-ins, Port Adelaide have kicked 5 goals, 6 to West Coast Eagles, 1 goal, 0. But not only are they scoring, they're getting field position off the back of that and looking really ominous. But what I will say, to West Coast Eagles' credit, they were able to hang in there, defend to the death. Admittedly, they got lucky with a few missed opportunities in front of goal for Port Adelaide. But talking about the context of the game and the balance of the game, where it's at, it's just starting to rain. It's still game on, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. West Coast are right up to their neck in this game. Yeah, look, Port should be up by a couple of goals, but sometimes bad kicking is bad footy, and they miss some opportunities, Port Adelaide, and they've left the door open. Well, West Coast are in front by a goal. Well, they probably shouldn't be, but sometimes games go like this. And if you're West Coast, you've got to go for it. Just play on, take some risks. Like, you've got nothing to lose. Like you said, they're the two worst quarters, fourth quarter teams in the competition. So just go for it, have a crack. You got nothing to lose. You're bottom of the table. No one's expecting you to win. But for Port Adelaide, you just feel as though they got a little bit more. Like Zach Butters is up to 30, Horn Francis is getting busy. They just got a little bit more talent around the footy. You think that would be enough to get them over the line. But West Coast, they're hanging in there.
Well, one of the other headaches for Port Adelaide is their captain, Connor Rose. He's now out of the game, so he's hugely influential in terms of game state and how the game's balanced at the moment. So losing him from Port Adelaide's perspective is a huge loss, but as you said, it's game on. And West Coast Eagles, who knows how this ends.
Let's head downstairs. Braden Ingram's on the boundary.
Yeah, you touched on the absence of Rosie. Power have also got Alir and Jason Horne-Francis playing through a little bit of soreness. And then for the Eagles, of course, we're still waiting to see when Noah Long, the sub, is injected into the game. I made the mistake of suggesting the poor weather had passed. It certainly is probably the heaviest rain, is close to what we've seen the entire game. So it's going to make for slippery conditions in this final term.
And this is where clearance wins become absolutely critical in these positions and these conditions, I should say. Getting field position with this slippery ball, it's hard to move it, so getting field position off the back of clearance win is critical.
They have pulled the lever for the sub too, West Coast. Noah Long is out there. Malachi Champion, the line has just gone through his name. Kick is towards centre half forward for Port. And then knocked over was Richards. He's going to get the footy.
Been good, Richards.
He'll send it towards full forward. It's a great looking kick, and then just knocked away by Ginby, and alongside him Edwards. They were looking, of course, for Georgiades. West Coast are going to have to defend desperately early stages of this fourth term.
And once again, Clint, you lose centre bounce. It's now living in Port Adelaide's forward half, and really difficult, as you said, to move the footy out of their D50, the West Coast Eagles.
This is where it was camped for so much of the third term. Throwing in, Sweet palmed it down with the left to Drew to Rioli. Snaps around the body. Great effort defensively. Edwards was able to knock it away from Georgiades and back over the boundary line. Rioli was looking, not sure if it was going for goal or trying to get it to Georgiades. In the end, the Eagles defend desperately. Edwards has got paint from the sponsors painted on the ground all over him at the moment. Spun in again at left full forward for Port. Sweet palms it down. Gathered by Reid. And Harley Reid for West Coast will flare it out towards left half back. It'll be picked up here by Hall. Play's able to gather against Boat. Kicks towards the outer wing. It's bouncing. Trying to get onto it. Brockman. Aliir comes the other way. Can't gather. Spilled off Aliir and into the hands of Baker. Kicks into the left forward pocket. Shanahan can't drag it in. It goes over the boundary line for a throw in. The Port fans want insufficient intent again. Not on that occasion. It's going to be thrown in about 30 out from the Eagles attacking goal. Going to the Riverbank stand end, the southern side of Adelaide Oval in this final term to the right of our broadcast position. Clint Wilton alongside Mark Soderstrom in commentary. This is ABC Sport.
Yeah, Clint told us that the Eagles have only won 2 final terms so far this year. Can they pinch a famous victory here? High ball from Hutchison going down towards Aliir there. He's missed the bounce. It's gone through to Shanahan. He's wrapped up in a tackle. Farrell's got him. And Aliir with that left knee looks very, very proppy. But he's still out there knowing that Connor Rosie's done. He's all wrapped up with that wrist. That hand injury. Flynn and Sweet off the deck from Wines. Goes straight onto the chest of Richards. Comes out of the defensive 50. He's got a runner in Butters. Missed the handball. Comes back. He's got enough time up. Butters turns Marek inside out. Has a bounce, then drops the ball forward. Burne-Jones couldn't take it. He slips as well. And then just tries a little kick to Horne-Francis under pressure from Hoff, and the whistle goes. Hoff with a little tug of the jumper. The Horne-Francis 60 out. Broadcast members side of the Adelaide Oval. A little bit of drizzle still falling. Eagles by 1 straight kick. Horne-Francis sets the ball up. Georgiades taken out of the contest. Burne-Jones left to fly. Hewitt knocks it forward, and then a hurried kick from Duggan has been cut off. Bergman hammers the ball back into the attacking 50. Big fly. Jinby at the back. Comes to Richards. Close to the boundary line. Duggan's got him. Gives it to Georgiades. And Basso pushes him over the line.
One thing I will say, and I think he's paid a free kick to Georgiades. I reckon he's lucky on that occasion. I was just about to say I'd like to see him stop playing for free kicks. I reckon he does too much of that.
Oh, wow, that wasn't a free kick.
No, that's a weak decision.
That is a terrible decision.
It was very little in that against Basso. Just gave him the slightest of nudges in the chest, and Georgiades fell to ground.
I think he paid too high. I think he must have pushed him around his neck, but
he should be fined for staking
nothing in it.
Georgiades won't care. He'll try to convert, but perhaps a bit of footy justice. He's missed narrowly. Through for a minor score. That margin goes back to 5 points. The Eagles lead. 4 gone in the opening. Good work, Clint. In the final term.
Tom McCarthy, just in the infancy of his career, after being picked up in a mid-season draft, kicks it out.
They had to bring the ball to ground there, West Coast. Poor contest. Well done, Zerk Thatcher.
Took the mark there at half-back, and then not quite sure where to go, so he retreats to Farrell, and he chips it forward. Butters, and Butters just waits and says, come past and run. I'll give it to Farrell because you've got a sweet left foot, and it is outstanding. The kick gives Burne-Jones a chance to run into space. He's taken the mark, super tight angle, about 10 metres out.
It was poor play by the West Coast player. After Farrell kicked it to Butters, just took off and just caught the West Coast player sleeping. Farrell loves getting gives and goes.
Burne-Jones has got one, and now he's got 2. And Port Adelaide hit the lead. It was terrific work by Zach Butters, just inviting Farrell to come in. He gave it the designated kicker. Port Adelaide 8-13-61. West Coast 9-6-60. It's Port by a point.
Well, it's interesting we talk about that contest on the outer wing, Brogues. That was absolutely critical that West Coast brought that ball to ground. Last thing they wanted was the ball to re-enter, which it did, particularly when it's in the hands of Farrell, who is an absolutely dynamic kick. And to connect inside 50 to Burne-Jones, just looking at the replay, that was, again, just dropped it in a bin. And that's the advantage of having someone like a Kane Farrell running off half-back. You can hold him down, you can nullify his influence, but he doesn't need a lot of the ball to hurt the opposition, but all set up by that really poor contest on the outer wing.
The Eagles Been in front for so much of this game. Now they find themselves in arrears. Can they hit back? Flint taps it out, but only as far as Drew. Immediately kicks Port to the outer wing. Trying to get there. Then does. Boak battles hard up against McCarthy. He'll come out the back again. This is Duggan. Spins away from Butter's attempted tackle. Now it's with McCarthy again. Got 2 to beat. Oh, did really well. Stepped along the line, but his kick intercepted by Aliir. Shanahan's right with him. Aliir worked it out to Liddy and then to Sin under pressure. Kicks along the ground. Hutchison can't take it cleanly. Just elects to soccer it forward and then taken high. Surely he's Long. He was.
That was a big ball to win by Long. Nice and clean. Stayed over the footy. Put his head over the footy and got rewarded with a big free kick. That was a huge win because now they go inside 50.
Farrell gave away the free. Long moves it to Jinby, who marks on the attacking edge of the centre square. He can put West Coast towards the very teeth of goal. He's got a raking kick. He sends it towards left full forward off hands. Lear in there, I think, had the more telling touch, and it spins away for what will be a throw-in. Deep at left full forward for West Coast, who trail by a point. We've gone 7 minutes into the last.
So Sweet and Flynn have spent the majority of the game in the ruck. Had a couple little chop outs. Liddy off hands goes to knees and he's held up. So the umpire will get involved again. Long doing the tackling on Liddy. Ball thrown up, 20 out from the Eagles' goal. They nullify each other. The ruckman picked up by Hewitt. Little kick around the corner. Picked up by Aliir. Clearing kick outside of the defensive 50. Cripps couldn't take it. Boak sits over it. Little tap out towards Sin. And now it comes to Bazzo. His hands are okay, but the kick only as far as Sin. Pressure footy with no real clear work, and it comes in the direction now with a little kick from Long. Stretch out and mark not taken by Shanahan. Aliir picks up high ball. And the mark's taken by Wine, still in a defensive 50, and the cheers from the Port Adelaide fans. We might get some clean ball for the first time in 45 seconds.
Tell you what, if Long had a little bit more composure, he could have run in and had a shot at the goals, but decided to go short, just lacked a little bit of composure with ball in hand then.
Nice kick from Wines, though. Was able to find Burne-Jones, who marked uncontested at right half back. His kick bounces down the line to Boak, sends it by hand back to Burne-Jones. Then works it to Liddy, who marks and immediately plays on. Turns and runs towards right half forward. Kicks inside forward 50. Rioli! Willie Rioli. 35 from goal. 45-degree angle to the right. He's not done a lot today, Willie Rioli, with respect to him, but he is the sort of player who he will deliver right now.
Well, yeah, I know this is really harsh comment to make, but he's looked disinterested at times. Even there, he wasn't really interested in getting the ball. The ball sort of fell in his hands, but when it's your moment to kick the goal, Willie, you need to nail this for Port Adelaide's sake.
Willie Rioli, 25-9 for the season. His kick is disappointing.
Oh, he's kicked that like he's disinterested.
Yeah.
Josh, he just hasn't looked himself at all today.
Missed to the left-hand side, a minor score. Port's lead goes out to 2 points. We've travelled 10 minutes into the final term here at Adelaide Oval.
Ball brought in, good kick towards Duggan from Cole, fell through his hands, and the umpire will throw it up at halfback for West Coast, outer side. And Willie Rioli, 3 goals with 7 kicks last week against Brisbane, and tonight, well, he's only had the 4 possessions. Sweet out of the ruck, knocks it down. Reid couldn't take it for West Coast, but he's going to get a free kick held on to by Liddy as he attempted to get possession.
Actually liked his game today, Reid Brokes. Been pretty good.
He's been really good.
Yeah.
Well, and this first time I've seen him live, he's got some, as we know, he's a super talent, but I think he's played really tough football today. He's been really good.
Strong unit.
Not sure about that kick.
So on cue. He's just kicked that right out of bounds, outer side. Let's go down to the boundary. Braden Ingram.
Josh Sin is the latest power player in the casualty ward. Just looks like he's getting his shoulder head area assessed at the moment, and he is in a bit of discomfort.
Burgoyne kicks to a pack outer side, and that's a good mark to Reid. He wants to redeem himself for putting it out of bounds on the full.
Go long. He's saying go long.
And then he goes short. He does tell everyone to go long and finds Duggan. Short, hard up against the boundary and just shy of centre wing of the Max Bashir stand. Duggan, the captain, towards left half forward. Flynn, front position, couldn't take the mark at the drop. Baker pops it inside forward 50. Aliir, best placed in front of Shanahan to take the mark, and he's got it for Port in the right back pocket. That score remains Port 8-14-62, the Eagles 9-6-60. And in the final term, we've travelled about 12 minutes.
Aliir out in the direction of Jones, but it's been cut off by Long, who has come on as the sub. And we see Josh Sinn getting some work on that right shoulder, so they're running out of soldiers in Port Adelaide. Ball thrown in, 70 out from the Eagles' goal. Flynn whacks it forward. Reid, he's taken and slung by Horn Francis. Free kick, two young bulls, the future of footy going at it. And Horn Francis wins out on that occasion.
What a battle that is between those two. Will be for years to come. Horn Francis kicks down the outer side of the ground. Off hands, it spills down to Drew, who just whacks it forward. Punching it a good 20 metres, then socket on again by Burn-Jones. Going to ground, Dewar inside his defensive 50. Burn-Jones attacks the footy, knocks it forward. It'll go over the boundary line, about 40 out from Port's attacking goal as we see the official attendance announced. 30,553 on a wet night in Adelaide. Ball put back in again. A right forward pocket for Port. Flynn wins it down in front of Lord. It comes straight to Horn Francis, who's been wrapped up in a strong tackle by Hutchison. They'll ball it up once more. Still Port by 2 points. 13 gone in the last. Sunday night footy on ABC Sport.
Ball tapped down towards Ginby. Collected and thrown around. Drew couldn't take it. Out of bounds in front of the scoreboard. $13 gone. West Coast within 2 points. Just the one win for the year. Can someone stand up for the Eags? Make it their moment. Flynn in game 50 up against Lord. Kick off the deck from Burn-Jones. Goes forward. Georgiades can't take it. Ginby picks it up and he's wrapped up by a bunch of power boys. And it's about 14 metres out from their goal.
Eagles just desperately hanging on, trying to find a way out of here. Flynn won it down. Hack over the top of it in the right forward pocket. And the umpire spotted a free kick going West Coast way. There's a bit of afters here. Horn Francis been shoved over. Free kick going to Hutchison, who has it. Flynn and Horn Francis continue to argue. The kick's too short to be marked at Duggan. Has to play on to Ginby. Run down by Burn-Jones. Just got the kick away. Just. Back to Duggan. Spears it looking for Hutchison. Drew spoiled it down. Gathered wet short. And it's marked by Wines in the left forward pocket.
It's just too cute. Great pressure by Port Adelaide, but it was too cute. Cute football from West Coast. Duggan's kick. It just needed to go long down the line and get it out of danger.
Just inviting pressure.
I think, absolutely, totally agree with you. But Hutchison, just take the mark.
That's true too.
Yeah. But you're right. Play the percentages.
So here is Ollie Wines. Tight angle in the left forward pocket. It's out the outside of the right boot. It's not going to be a goal. Punched away by the Eagles defence. They'll tumble across the boundary for a throw-in in the right forward pocket for Port. In front of the scoreboard. Seeing the reason why there was such a reaction a moment ago towards Horn Francis as he shoved Hutchison's head into the turf here in Adelaide. That margin, Port still by 2. 15 gone in the last on ABC Sport.
Bailey Williams up against Lord. Balls at their feet. Picked up by Reid. Handball over his head to Trav Boak, and he shoots away and puts it through for behind.
Free kick.
A little bit going on.
Undisciplined West Coast. I'm not sure who it was. I think it was Reid.
It's
off the ball.
I think they've got Reid for a throw.
Then Boak played on. Is that advantage?
Yeah, I reckon they have.
We didn't have enough time to...
I would argue you've taken advantage there.
Yeah, agree.
If
Absolutely.
you had the ability to take a shot at goal, which he has, they've taken advantage.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a terrible decision.
Trev Boak in game number 381. It takes advantage of the throw from Reid and the umpire giving him a second chance. It's Port Adelaide by 8 points, 9-14-68. West Coast 9-6-60, 16 gone in this final term. Sunday night footy, ABC Sport. Your experts, showdown medalist Josh Franco and ruckman from the Premiership at 04, Dean Brogan.
I guess I'm going to bat here, Brokes, for the umpire, but just looking at the replay, there wasn't a lot of time between Reid throwing the ball and Boak snapping. He's brought it back and not paid the advantage.
Oh, that's the advantage every day of the week, isn't it? Oh.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm going to go to the point that if you have time to have a shot at goal, which he has, and he's missed.
But I would say that he hasn't made the choice to take the advantage because he didn't even know it was a free kick.
Anyway, funny one, but
interesting one, mate.
Yeah.
Tell you what, if you're listening to us over in the West, extra time tomorrow night. We'll ask Ray Chamberlain, as we always do, as we have the umpires call. Give us your thoughts if you're an Eagle.
If you're West Coast, your time's now. You've got to go. You've been great, brave all day, but you've got to take the game on. You're down by 8 points. You may as well lose by 30 points. You've got to take the game on and see if you can pinch a win.
Port by 8. Free kick to the Eagles in the middle. Hutchison sends it deep inside forward 50. Off hands. It'll spill out in the direction. Oh, well done, Bunners. Got it on again towards Burne-Jones. Shares it through Horne-Francis. They fly through the middle, Port. Here comes Burne-Jones again. Kicks inside forward 50. Jimby got in front of Rioli. Got it for the Eagles and then kicks low. That forces Marrick to dive forward to take the mark at left half back. They were away then, Port. And find a target inside forward 50 as Marrick goes out to Hoff, who marks right near the boundary left half back. Port by 8 points, 18 gone in the last.
Little chip by Hoff to Marrick. Outer side. Comes back, gives it to Jinby. He runs from half back. Delivers into the attacking 50. Lord flies on his own ahead of Shanahan. Couldn't take it. Mopped up by Burgoyne. And he gives it to Richards. Has had a big game, Richards. He's been terrific. His defensive pressure outstanding. And he's also hit the scoreboard. Rewarded Port Adelaide. Showing some faith. Gives it to Liddy. He's got support in Butters. Huge first term, set things up. And he's kicked to Lukosius, who's found it pretty tough in his second game back from those long-term injuries. But he's got it 70 out. Scoreboard side of the ground, just pops the ball up. Big fly from Edwards, takes it out of bounds. He's had a good game, Harry Edwards. Done the job in defence. He's had a lot to do and he's done it well.
Sort of just sent from West Coast's perspective is where everything has to go right for them to win the game. Just those little 50-50 opportunities, whether it's hitting a kick or winning that ground ball. They've got to make the most of every opportunity they get.
Spun back in. Bailey J. Williams won it down for the Eagles. Comes out the side. Was there to Dewar. Shoveled a hand pass to Jimby. Tackled immediately. Ball's going to be locked in here by Drew. Strong tackle from Georgiades on Jimby. Happy to return the favour after Jimby's provided a few of his own throughout the Knights. 8 points remains that lead. 20 minutes gone. Just into time on now in the final term. Bailey J. Williams won it down. Read beautifully by Horne-Francis. Works at the Woods. Goal. It's got past Edwards. He tried to trap it and it has just bobbled past him and gone through for a goal. Oh, you wouldn't believe it. And there's a bit of afters now as well because I reckon Horne-Francis has said something and there'll be fines aplenty out of this. The AFL coffers, well, they'll be ringing as a melee just breaks out for a few moments, steep in the right forward pocket. Cathedral in the background. Oh, you have to feel a bit for Harry Edwards. He tried to trap it. It was kicked towards goal. Nicely done, though, you have to say, from Horne-Francis. And it just got away from Edwards. Tried to stick out the boot. Couldn't make contact and through for a major. Wow.
Oh, that's incredible how he missed that. He got a horrible bounce, but what a goal by Horne-Francis. He's so dangerous around those stoppages in the forward 50, but yeah, if you're Edwards, you don't want to see that too many times on replay. Clean bowled him.
Well,
for a goal.
Edwards could do that another 100 times, and 99 of them, he'd get at least something on it.
I think it nutmegged him.
I think
Between
you're right.
the legs. Let's go down to Braden Ingram.
It was Butters who was at the centre of that. He almost got pushed over the fence, was the strength of the melee.
Yeah, I think Butters likes to agitate along with Horne-Francis. Clearing kick comes forward for Port Adelaide. Georgiades slides from the Jackson kick and takes the mark. 20 out. 21 minutes gone. Porter out by 14. And West Coast look like they'll need a miracle at this stage.
Yeah, it looks almost insurmountable, especially if Georgiades actually nails this goal. But once again, a centre clearance from Port Adelaide, the quick kick forward, and Lux of Fortune lands on the chest of Georgiades. Could have had a big game, this bloke, couldn't he? If he
That's 7 shots on goal.
This is the 8th shot on goal.
He's kicked 2-5.
One out in the full as well, I reckon.
Yep.
Had plenty of opportunities. Georgiades, he needs it, and he just sneaks it in. Port Adelaide by 20 points. He's kicked 3 goals, 5, 11-14-80. West Coast 9-6-60, 23 gone in the final term. Sunday night. I'm jumping backwards in time. Sunday night footy right here on ABC Sport.
Well, I think it's been a really good duel between Mitch Georgiades and Jimby today, but you look at Mitch's stats, he's kicked 3 goals, 5, and like you said, out of bounds on the full, so he's actually had 8 shots on goal, but I think Jimby's been pretty solid on him. Just shows how good Mitch Georgiades is. He's one of the elite forwards of the competition. He's in all-Australian form, in a team that's sitting 13th or 14th on the ladder, to kick almost, I think he's kicked close to 40-something goals now, 45. That's a sensational return on a team that, doesn't give him every opportunity going forward. He makes the most of his opportunities, and that 8 shots on goal.
Umpire's going to give a free kick here. Being held was sweet by Flynn. Plays on by hand to Butters, and will move it out towards the commentary wing. Wines, marks, and plays on again to Butters, who continued his run forward of the logo. Dan Moore has broken now. 20 points that margin in favour of Port. 23 and a bit minutes gone in the final term. Kick to the left forward pocket. Well done by Hewitt, getting in front of Wines and knocking it across the boundary line for a throw-in.
Butters 36 disposals. Fair game again. 5 clearances.
Harley Reid leading the way for West Coast with 23 and Duggan with 19. It's put back into play again. Arm down by Lord. Straight back into traffic. There's a free kick for a push here that come again to Port Adelaide.
Against Harley Reid again.
Does give away some frees, Harley, more than anyone else in the comp. Butters into the left forward pockets. And then able to mark was Georgiades. Up against him was Edwards, who's going to have nightmares for weeks over that moment a few seconds ago with Horne-Francis kicking the goal that he just couldn't get a touch on. Goes back to standing his defensive goal square. Ball spun in again. The boundary umpire. Front position as Flynn punted down. Oh, straight to Horne-Francis on the road. On the goals! He kicks another one for Port. Horne-Francis gets his second. And it's all over now. Port are going to celebrate another victory, and they will stay in the hunt for the finals. They've got their 12-14-86. West Coast 9-6-60. 25 gone in the last. It was like Horne-Francis was roving to the Big Eagles ruck.
We're just having a look at the replay, and Horne-Francis matched up on Harley Reid at that stoppage, and not a great matchup in terms of leg speed v leg speed. Horne-Francis is dynamic and electric if he's given space to run into, as he was on that occasion. And when you're talking about a stoppage scenario, in that scenario when it's D50 and you've got dangerous players like that, you need support from your teammates, and he didn't get it. Horne-Francis outstanding.
And he turned around and just gave it to Harley as well afterwards.
Yeah.
Horne-Francis, just the 2 possessions in the first quarter, then he has exploded with 3 goals. He's had 25 touches since quarter time, 9 inside 50s, and a free kick at the centre bounce has been found to go to Zach Butters. He's got Farrell, and Farrell's wrapped up by Hewitt. He's in big trouble. We've been talking about the great clearance work of Butters and Horne-Francis, and Josh Franco. Ollie Wines has had 8.
Yeah, he gets under your guard too, doesn't he?
Unbelievable.
Yep.
Their midfield has stood up when it's needed to. Hewitt with the free kick goes forward. Shanahan was the target. It comes back to him. Little kick outside of the boot. Under pressure, Horne-Francis stops Baker from getting it. Geez, he travels some distance, Jason Horne-Francis, and it's through for a behind. So the Eagles sneak a little bit closer, but it looks like it's done and dusted. 26 points down, 26 minutes gone in this final term, and Port Adelaide just keeping their season alive with some sort of pulse.
But Port, with the long kick towards right half back, Lukosius marking. Glances back inboard. Makes a couple of steps out to the right. Sends it towards right half forward. Jinby does well. Get away from his opponents. He's able to fly up and take the mark. He'll play on quickly by hand to McCarthy. Shy of the logo, outer wing. Heads towards Jack Williams and can't mark. Good spoil again coming from Jones.
Going back to Port Adelaide's midfield, I reckon that's why they're one of the best balanced midfields in the comp, particularly with the addition of a Bergman. They've got the speed with the Butters and a Horne-Francis. They got the big bodies in Bergman and also Wines and also Drew. He's probably someone you forget about as well. That's why I really like the balance of their midfield makeup.
The ruck got a telling tap, eventually spills down for Reid, was tackled by a sweep. Lost possession, went and gathered it again to Clay Hall to McCarthy. Again to Dewar for the Eagles, back to Hall. Hard up against the boundary, the kick is out of bounds on the full. He was trying to hug the boundary line looking for McCarthy. Couldn't find him. Instead, found the fence. Drew to take the free kick. He'll steer it inboard to Burn Jones.
Interesting to see what McWalter says about this performance.
It's another one where they've been competitive, but they've not at any stage this year, apart from St Kilda, been able to string four quarters together. And I think that's just an indication of where they're at as a group.
4 goals to zip in this final term for Port Adelaide.
Yeah, they're clearly, as we know, in a massive rebuilding phase, but they've absolutely been slaughtered in the midfield today.
Yeah.
You know, Tim Kelly's not playing at the level. Jack Graham goes through there. He's not there today. Obviously, Liam Ryan's out, pulled out. So they've got some good outs, but you can't win football games when you're minus 30 in clearances. And I think that Port have kicked 7 or 8 goals from stoppage. So that's the Achilles heel at the moment for them. And they'll build there. They'll get some talent through the door in the next couple of years.
Throw in. Hutchison combines with Reid. He gives it to Baker, and he's tackled in the centre square. Ball up.
The problem is, though, they probably lose Reid.
At some point.
Well, I think they will eventually, but the thing about Reid is you would expect they're going to get some reasonable compensation. You're going to have to trade for him.
Right.
So that will be the hope. It's been an interesting discussion point. Do West Coast trade now, or do they make him, or does he hang around for the 3rd year of his contract? It's been an interesting discussion point in the West for a while now.
Ball comes out towards Reid. Little fumble. Off the deck. And it comes to Farrell. Smothered by Hoff. Gives it off. Hutchison combines. Kick going forward now to Alir. And he takes the mark. It was the Hoff kick. And he's done okay, Alir, considering he's been proppy on that left knee for the majority of the game. Just a chipping ball. Gives it to Farrell. And his left foot has been dynamic on occasions today, which we've come to expect.
Take a couple of steps here. Farrell sends it long towards the outer side. He had 3 Port players around him. He won it to ground, but Hall couldn't quite keep it in at left half forward. The Eagles don't deserve to get wiped off the park here. They've been too competitive for that, but it is the challenge as we head towards the half an hour mark.
Well, 3 goals since quarter time, isn't it?
Yeah.
So
what is it? 39 points to quarter time, and from that stage on, 3 goals, 4. So here's Port Adelaide with a spiral kick in the direction of Lukosius. Won it down. Richards got tackled, lost it, comes back again to Lukosius. He's been tackled by Cole. Umpire says we'll ball it up, just shy of the attacking edge of the centre square for Port Adelaide. And Port get another goal or 2 late. They win it down through Sweet. Wines kicks into the right forward pocket. Lord will get there. Tapped it down to Richards. Broke a tackle. Kicks it, goal, misses. A minor score. He was looking for his 3rd of the game. Not to be. 12-14, 86 Port. 9-7, 61 the Eagles. 31 gone in the last on ABC Sport. Ball's kicked in for the Eagles. To Hoff from Duggan.
Bazzo. And getting around, in a little bit of trouble was Tommy Cole. Finally negotiated his way through Ollie Lord, and then his kick's cut off by Alir at half-back. Comes into Manny Liddy, uses the corridor. Liddy's kick is terrific, Lukosius on the Port Adelaide side of the centre. And his kick was looking for Burne-Jones, but Edwards, who has probably been
He's
right
been
up
terrific, Sodas. Absolutely terrific.
You're right. He's taken plenty of marks as an interceptor, kick going forward, and it's smashed out of bounds for Port Adelaide by Sweet. Yeah, just looking at those numbers for Edwards, he's taken 11 marks. A lot of those have been intercept marks. You're spot on, Brogues. He's been outstanding.
They've got some good key position players, haven't they? Edwards, Shanahan.
There are the cliched green shoots.
Jimby. They've got some talent. They just need to get some midfield stocks over the next year or two, because that's where their Achilles heel is at the moment. They just don't have enough talent through there at the moment.
He's long, deep inside forward 50. Centres up, and that's a solid fist for the footy that sees it over the boundary line for a throw-in. A right forward pocket for West Coast. Round about 40 from their attacking goal. Port Adelaide fans, I'll be happy to pick up the points. I knew they were challenged. Quinn wins it down in the direction of Cripps, kicks towards goal, but couldn't get it up into the air. It bounced through towards Alir, who mopped it up. It comes to Liddy. Port should be able to get their way out of trouble here. Oh, Baker, that is a great tackle. Wrapped up his... They did it the hard way, Port, against the courageous West Coast Eagles. But the power, far too good in the end. They prevail by 26 points to keep themselves in the hunt for the finals in 2025. Port Adelaide 12-15-87. West Coast 9-7-61.
We got the power to win, power to roll. Come on, Port Adelaide aggression. We are the power from Port. It's more than a sport. It's a true Port Adelaide tradition. We'll never stop till we're top. There's history here in the making. We got the power to win. We'll never give in till the flag is ours for the taking.
So Port Adelaide trailed by 25 points at quarter time, by 11 at the half, by 6 at three-quarter time to win by 26. So Port Adelaide with their 8th win of the season. Too good for West Coast in the end, despite a valiant effort by the Eagles for 3 and a bit quarters. Port showing just how much further the Eagles have to come before they can genuinely be any sort of contenders in the AFL. For Port, Mitch Georgiades kicked 3 goals. He also, by the way, 3, 5 and 1 out of bounds on the full, so had plenty of opportunities. Richards kicked 2, Burne-Jones with 2, Horne-Francis with a couple, and 1 to Miles Bergman as well. While for the West Coast Eagles, 2 to Williams, and then singles to Baker, Reid, Brockman, Flynn, Bailey J. Williams, Jack kicking the 2, Shanahan with 1, and Dewar as well. The big story out of it for Port, not just getting the points, but also the finger injury to Connor Rosie. And we'll find out from Brayden Ingram downstairs. He'll be heading to the rooms just to see how serious that might be. But he had to be subbed out in the 23rd minute of the third term after suffering a finger injury. So hopefully the captain of Port Adelaide is okay. But West Coast only able to put on in that last term just the one behind to Port Adelaide, who kicked 5 goals, 3. And all things considered, they really did pretty much stop. That's possibly a harsh way of putting it. Pretty much stop after what was such an outstanding opening term by them. 30,553 watching on at Adelaide Oval. Among them, of course, our experts, Dean Brogan and Josh Franco.
Well, Brogues, we spoke pre-game briefly just about how this game was going to unfold, and as I've said a couple of times on this call this afternoon, walking to the ground, I thought it was going to be Port Adelaide by how much, but they came out, West Coast, and threw the first punch and really caught Port Adelaide on the back foot. We mentioned a couple of times in that first quarter where Port Adelaide were asleep. It almost seems like they hadn't brought the mentality to come to compete, and West Coast really, as I said, caught them on the hop. But as you said, Clint, after quarter time, Port Adelaide slowly worked their way back into the game. At the main break, you could almost sense that Port Adelaide were going to come out and flex their muscles. And when you look at the numbers, and again, we talk about the contested ball, ground ball gets, and the tackle count, sort of 3 big indicators in terms of mentality. Port Adelaide, at the end of the game, smashed them in all 3 of them, the inside 50s, but where the damage was done was the clearance count. Yeah, Port Adelaide were plus 29 in clearances, and they were able to kick 8 goals, 7 from that. West Coast Eagles, just the 1 goal from stoppages around the ground. So, all in all, Port Adelaide got a scare to start with, fought their way back, got the 4 points, box ticked. Probably from my perspective, it's probably more around how McQualter would assess the West Coast Eagles' performance.
Yeah, look, no doubt. I think you'd be pretty happy with how they approached today. They had a lot of drama go on. They had Liam Ryan pull out before the game. We know Jack Graham's incident. They've left Tim Kelly at home. They played a lot of kids. They came out and had a good crack at it. But the class of Port Adelaide in the end was just too much. And they really need to get some midfield stocks, West Coast. They are really lean in that area. I like some of their tall timbers up forward. I think their forward line's not too bad. The back line looks pretty good, but they're getting slaughtered in the midfield every week, and today was no different. And Butters and Horn Francis and Ollie Wines, they just pretty much did what they wanted. And it's not through effort or even structure, I think. It's just they just don't have the talent in there, and it just was too easy in the end. And to kick, I think it was 9 goals, Josh, 9 goals, 7 from stoppage to 1 goal. And you get done by 4 goals. So even if you halve that number, they're in the game. But you can't. You're not going to win too many games of football when you're getting slaughtered in the midfield like that. But all other parts of their game, they look okay. For a team that's only won 1 game, they were not disgraced today at all. So if you're a West Coast fan listening or have watched the game, there's something there, but they really need to get some midfield talent, either through the draft or through trades, because as we know, it is won and lost in the midfield, and they just got slaughtered in there today.
Well, the other thing as well, when you lose field position from stoppage, you're under the pump in terms of trying to move the ball out of your back 50, and they struggled with that. It lived in Port Adelaide's forward half for a big chunk of that second half. So when you're losing clearances and getting scored from stoppage and losing field position, it makes it really tough, and you're on the back foot right from the get-go. So agreed with you. They've got to go out and get some real quality in the midfield and keep developing what they've got on their list.
But for Port, look, they were horrible in that first quarter, weren't they? And sometimes that happens when you said it, Josh. Sometimes you come out and you play a bottom side and you're a bit too cute. You're not as on edge as what you should be. And they got whacked in that first quarter. But to their credit, they got going after quarter time and played some pretty good footy.
Yeah.
And their good players played really well. Concerns me, they're starting to get a few injuries now. Rosie, that looks like a bit more than a broken finger. He pointed to his hand. We know they've got 3 long-term injuries from last week. So they're going to dig deep into their player list now, and so just box tick for them today. Move on to next week. But they're still alive. The season's still alive for them.
Let's head down into the rooms. Braden Ingram.
Yeah, the wounded skipper. He did lead his side down here. Smiles despite the fact knowing that it might be a little bit of a break on sidelines. Look, a little bit subdued. They just had to find a way to win ugly tonight, and that's exactly what they've done. Still 3 games out of the 8, but they're not without a mathematical hope as they gather into the circle here to sing the song and just give themselves a little bit of hope in the closing stages of the season. They're all gathered up now, just waiting for the last couple and getting around Miles Bergman his 100th.
It's the truth for Adelaide tradition. Stop to the top. History in we're proud to win. We never give in. The flag is ours for the same.
Measly 38 touches for Zach Butters this evening, and we'll chat to him in just a short time.
Good on you, Braden, downstairs. That was sung with a fair bit of enthusiasm. We'll talk a lot about some of the really impressive Port players, and we spoke so much about Georgiades, but I just want to get your thoughts on Joe Richards. First time I've had a chance to see him live, I really like what he can bring to a football club, and I can see why they were so keen to get him from Collingwood with what he's been able to do today. He can work around onto his left. Goodness me, that's accurate.
He hasn't played a lot of AFL football either, so he's been on Collingwood's list for 4 years, so he's ready to go. He just couldn't break into the side, and talking to Port Adelaide when they recruited him, I'd never even heard of him, and they all rated him very highly. He took a while to get going. It's always hard changing clubs, but you can see his last month of football has been really good. He's the perfect model of a small forward. He gets up the ground, he puts super pressure on, he's a good finisher, and he plays with a bit of aggression as well. So I 100% see what they've gone and got, and I think they've got a real good player there, and once he gets 50, 60, 70 games under him, he's going to be a star.
Right, you're right. He's only played the 9 games at Collingwood before they got him, and I think they gave him a 3-year deal. So they clearly, someone looked at him and went, this guy can do something. We saw today, he kicked 2 goals, 3. He could have kicked a few more, but he just is very calm and collected when he gets the ball, and his pressure was great, Josh.
That's the thing that stands out for me. I watched him play against Carlton a couple of weeks ago, and I think I put him in the votes. He was outstanding, and you're right, he hits the scoreboard, but the thing that I really like about him is he's got speed in that forward half, and he does like to tackle.
Yeah, and good teams have really good half forwards, small half forwards. All the teams at the pointy end of the ladder have them. You look at Adelaide, Isaac Rankin and Rochelle, and Brisbane have got them. Collingwood, we know, which is where he came from. The good sides have really good half forwards, and Port Adelaide have lacked that half forward that gets up the ground. And obviously, we know what Sam Powell-Pepper does. He's gone for the year, and Rioli's not that player, as we know, but they've found one there, and he's a really good player, and he's going to play a lot of footy for Port Adelaide and build for Josh Carr's tenure moving on. He'd be pretty happy with that recruitment of Richards.
Super impressive effort from what he had to do. Really liked him. What would it mean for Port if Connor Rozee has to miss a couple of weeks with that finger injury? How crucial is he?
I think it's huge. Yeah, he's obviously proven to be a hugely influential player, whether that's in the midfield or halfback over recent times. He's hugely influential, just for his leadership, but also his ability to impact the game with ball in hand. And we just saw the Port Adelaide group singing the song, and he had a couple of fingers strapped up, so fingers crossed it is just a finger and not a wrist or a palm of his hand or something that's going to keep him out. But as you said after the game, Brogues, that the injuries are starting to mount up for Port Adelaide, and he's one player they can't afford to lose.
And to be fair with Port Adelaide this year, they haven't been able to put their best team on the park for most of the year. They've had a lot of injuries. They missed Butters for the first month of the year. They just haven't been able to have a good run at it where they get their best 22 out there for 3, 4, 5 weeks. Losing Rozee, like if this is a hand injury and you've lost him for a month, then it's pretty much season really. You put him away and get him ready for next year. But hopefully it's just a bad dislocation, and for him to not go back out there when the game's in the balance means I think it's something a bit significant, which could mean weeks on the sideline, if not seasons. So we're only preempting that. But he played with a tore hamstring last year, so he's a tough cookie.
I think the other thing as well from Port Adelaide's perspective, we talk about Georgiades, he's been outstanding, but I reckon he needs more support. They need more out of Lukosius. Ollie Lord, I don't know how many games he's played now, but he's someone that has to start to imprint his footprint on the competition, and he hasn't quite been able to do that. Obviously, Marshall's out for the rest of the season, but he needs more support in terms of aerial support.
Absolutely.
Ahead of the ball.
Yeah, most teams have two good tools, and then they're surrounded by smalls. And unfortunately for Port Adelaide at the moment, we know Marshall's gone with Achilles. They just haven't been able to. Lord hasn't taken that next step yet. And look, big guys take longer, so they will persist with him. But you're right, Josh, for them to go anywhere down the track moving forward, get into that 8 and have a crack at playing finals again, they need someone else other than Mitch. From a tool perspective, kicking goals. But Lukosius was nowhere near it today. Yeah. Second up after a big layoff, you'd probably give him a bit of a pass, but that laconic look about him, he stands out for all the wrong reasons at times, doesn't he?
And I think also with Port Adelaide ahead of the footy, I don't think they can keep relying on a Vicentini or a Sweet to play as that second tall to support a Georgiades.
Yeah, you can't play two rucks.
No, you can't. They need to find someone else.
If you can Hinkley, do you persist with Willie Rioli?
Look, I think you do. And going back to what, Brogues and the discussion around a Joe Richards, you've got someone like him, you've got a Burn Jones who does pressure, doesn't impact the scoreboard a lot, but he does give a lot of grunt. You lose a power pepper, which hurts, but I still think you need a bit of cream on the cake, which Rioli gives. He absolutely looked disinterested today, like he didn't want to be out there, but we know that he's capable of turning a game in 2-3 minutes of play. And he does the magical stuff, which I think you need if you're going to go on and really impact finals.
And I'm not sure who they can bring in. Like, the injury list is pretty huge at the moment. So he probably...
Joe Berry,
they've
Berry's
got him.
Probably not quite ready yet, but
Mead's
around.
back in the twos, but he's not a small forward. But Willie Rioli has these games. We know how good he can be, but he has it in him to turn up and play like that today sometimes. And
I reckon he did. I reckon he said we're playing West Coast today. I'm
not interested.
Yeah, he just looked so flat today.
Didn't he?
He was nowhere near it today, and I'm sure the coaches are scratching their heads going, what was that?
Even the shot at goal, which is the sort of thing that Willie...
He normally knows it.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
He barely made the distance.
Yeah. But sometimes he's playing his old side.
Yeah.
You think there's always that... I mean, you don't need any more motivation than the motivation to be out there, but when you're playing your old side, and you'd know many of those blokes, played in the flag with them, you'd just think he'd like to get involved and stick it up a little bit, but he just...
Well, he had 4 disposals. He had 3 kicks at 0% efficiency. Oh, he kicked the point, but
he didn't have a tackle either.
He didn't have a big game, really.
They're essentially playing with a man down.
Yeah, they did.
Well, I've watched a lot of Willie over the years and thoroughly enjoy watching him play, but today was as bad as I've seen him.
Yeah.
It really just looks so flat. So maybe it's one where Ken continues to back him, as you say, because he does have that ability to bob up and do something special, but it's almost maybe one where...
And why they're still relevant. Why they're still relevant, like, there's still a bit to play out for the season for them. They're still in the hunt mathematically. They can obviously still make the finals. So you probably just got to pull him in the office this week and go, look, mate, if you play like that again, we can't play you. We're better off playing a kid. But he'll probably come out next week and kick 5. So
he will.
I think he just forget about that one, really.
Well, there's life, there's hope for Port Adelaide. They remain in that hunt. They move to what is now 32 points. They've stayed in 11th position after Sydney had their win as well. So the two sides who are, look, they're mathematically still a chance. They just sit below that sort of top 9 trying to play for finals. But Port Adelaide and Sydney both winning today. The Swans, they did it late, but they got home against St Kilda by 5 points, and then the earlier game, Melbourne by 36 against North. To come, doesn't get much tougher than this. Hawthorn, who are coming off a loss, and there's no place they like playing more than at York Park in Launceston, and that's where Port Adelaide will travel for their next game. That's the early game on Saturday, while West Coast, who know that they're running out of time really to try and get another win for season 2025, have one up against Richmond. That's the Saturday late game at Perth Stadium, and they'll be hoping that the Tigers are still celebrating after their victory over Essendon yesterday. Of course, then West Coast after that have they'll throw everything at this, just try to ruin Fremantle's chances of playing finals. They've got the Derby the week afterwards, so that's going to be fascinating as well. We'll head down into the room shortly. Braden Ingram is down there. We'll be having a chat to Port Adelaide's Zach Butters in just a moment. But a couple of the key numbers. Zach Butters, by the way, with 38 disposals. Actually, let's head to the rooms right now.
Yeah,
Braden Ingram.
That's right, Clint. 38 touches, the 7 clearances as well. Zach Butters, it probably didn't find it going your own way early on in the game, probably unexpected. How did you start to get things going in your direction?
Yeah, I guess you can say it's unexpected, but you should expect it every week. I think we're playing AFL footy, and if you give any team a look, they'll make you pay for it. So, yeah, credit to them. They come out firing, and we had to get better real quick, and I thought post-quarter time we were able to do that.
Did you probably come out a little bit flat, do you think?
Yeah, well, I think the scoreboard says that, so I think you have to be honest and look internally and think, yeah, that did happen. But I thought after that, and thought Kenny's messaging was really clearly, and obviously got through to the boys, and I think a few boys changed a few things, and I thought post that we were able to really get the game on our terms.
They obviously had a few outs, and then they lose Jack Graham as well. Did you feel like yourself personally you could get on top today, given who you were up against and your calibre as well?
Yeah, I definitely think there was opportunities. I think all around the midfield, I thought Sweetie was really good as well for us today. I thought, yeah, we were able to get some good looks. We could do some damage, but also got to bring the intensity and the pressure and all the little things that's probably lead to getting the reward on the other side. And I thought, yeah, we're able to do that for longer periods of the game, but not good enough early.
Corn Francis really lifted in that final term. He kicks that miracle goal, but you're the one who found yourself over the fence, copping a bit of a melee from 3 Eagles. How did you find yourself in the middle of that?
Yeah, Horner was getting a bit of stick, and we're working together, and yeah, I love seeing him kick goal and do that stuff. It really excites me, and I thought I was just really proud of the way he stuck in there personally, and the team stuck in there, and it's probably my way of celebrating, I guess.
I'll throw it upstairs to the boys in just a moment. Just one more question from me. Next week, you head to Launceston to take on Hawthorn. We know that rivalry that's developed after gather round in the finals last year. How do you handle that? Is that going to be do you need to come out firing and sort of embrace that heat that's going to come?
Yeah, I think it's going to be a good contest and a heated game, and like I said before, you got to do it every week and show it with the right mindset and the right intent. So, yeah, we'll treat that no differently.
All right, we'll throw it upstairs to the boys.
Zach, Josh, Franco, congratulations again on the win and your game, mate. I thought you're absolutely outstanding. One of the areas we have just been speaking about post-game is Port Adelaide's clearance work. So you ended up plus 29 clearances, and you're able to kick 9 goals, 7 from stoppage. Is it a focus going into the game, or is it just the way that the game unfolded?
Yeah, I think we've been building around our clearance work and our stoppage stuff the last 3 or 4 weeks, and I guess with Horner coming back in a few weeks ago and Ollie Wines and Willem Drew, I think Wines missed a few games as well, so I think we've got a bit more continuity in there, and we've played a lot of footy together, so I think we've been able to get things rolling in there the last few weeks, and it was a good effort by the boys in there today.
Butters, Brogues here, mate. Sensational game by you, mate. I thought you really put the team on your back in the first quarter when you guys, looked a little bit out of it, and like you said, the scoreboard reflected that, so well done, mate. But the skipper, how's Connor Rosie? We saw he dislocated finger, came off and then didn't come back on. Have you spoken to him at all?
Yeah, I spoke to him after the game on the ground. I think he's in good spirits. I think that finger's been around for a little bit. I don't know, Brogues, you're a ruckman and played a lot of footy and basketball. You probably know the pain of it, but I think once you dislocate them, they keep coming in and out, and I think it's something he's been managing for a little bit. So, yeah, he's a tough character, and I guess he'll give himself every chance for next week.
And Butters, what was said at quarter time? We saw Kenny come down and grab you as a team, and before, normally you go to your line coaches to start with, but Kenny grabbed you and he spoke to you for a little bit. Was it more just like, come on boys, wake up, like what's going on? What was actually said? Was it directive, or what can you tell us there?
Yeah, I think Kenny did what he does best, and was really honest with his feedback and honest with what we need to improve on, and I think you've seen the response says it all with how he handled himself in that moment, and post that we'll turn the game around. But yeah, he was honest and he was angry and he wasn't happy, but I think after that we got the ball rolling.
And Zach, just another player that we've been discussing obviously throughout the course of the game, but more specifically post-game is Richards, Joe Richards. He was outstanding today. In his last month of footy, he just seems to be really finding his straps. Would that be fair to say?
Yeah, mate. He's been one of my favourite teammates this year, to be honest. I think, probably didn't know too much about him before he got to the footy club, but our recruiters really rated him, and I don't know how he hasn't been in the AFL list for longer. He's genuinely a little superstar, and become really good mates with him at the footy club, and I love his work, and he turns up, trains his ass off, and I think his last month he's shown what he can really do.
Zach, congratulations on your performance. Mark Sotis from up here. Jason Horne-Francis just had the 2 touches in that first term. I know we touched on him before, but he obviously lit the game up after quarter time, but he looks like he gets under the skin of every player that he plays against. What is he doing to get to them, and is he a bigger pest than you are to them?
I don't know. I think he's starting to come from my mentor as being a bit of a pest, but he's a competitive bugger, and I think Kenny challenged both me and him at quarter time, and I said let's go out there and do this together, and credit to him, he really grabbed the game by the guts of it and really took it on, and then goals are special. I think that's what he does when he's in that mindset.
And Butters, Ollie Wines, he probably doesn't get enough credit week in, week out, but he's been solid again today. He's had the 10 clearances, 25 possessions. Like, people forget about Ollie Wines, but the Brownlow medalist is in some pretty good form, isn't he?
Yeah, he's a big bull, and I think that's what we need him in there doing, crashing packs and winning clearances and being really strong. And I think he turns up and still does it every week. And like you said, he probably goes under the radar a bit in our midfield, but he's a real leader in there, and we love playing with him well.
One last one from me. Congratulations on the win, by the way, Zach. Clint Wilden here. I'm just really keen to know, is it a case of Port, while there's life, there's hope for season 2025? Is that the way that you look at it?
I think if you're alive, aren't you? I think you just got to keep swimming. So, mate, it excites me, and until it's done, it's done. So, I'm so excited for the rest of the year, and who knows what can happen.
It was an exciting finish to the game. Congratulations, well done.
Thanks, appreciate it. Thanks for having me on.
38 disposals. He was outstanding today, Zach Butters.
I've always made the comment up here. Imagine if he was 6'3". He's almost the complete player. The only position he can't play is probably ruck or fullback.
Even then, he'd still have a crack at it.
You know what I was about to say? He'd go down fighting. He's phenomenal, and he is known for his competitiveness. He's a pest. He gets in the face of the opposition. He's a competitor. And I think it was in the second quarter, might have been the first quarter, that the thing I really like about his game is his composure with the ball, his ability to see targets that other players wouldn't, and then set up offensive ball movement.
His aggression reminds me of Josh Franco back in the day.
Just a little angry. Yeah. Josh Franco used to love his boxing at training. He was ready to fire at anyone. But it's the same thing. It's like an agitator.
Yeah.
I really love that role, and he plays it. Horne-Francis plays it. So you've not just got one, you've got both of them. And Josh, that's such an important role to get under the skin of the opposition and still perform.
Well, it was Hoff that went to him by the looks of things after half time, and I made the comment that he needs to have Zach Butters fighting with him to get him off his game. But again,
it takes a brave player to do that, because they don't like doing it.
They don't like doing it. And I don't think that's the answer, because he plays better.
Yeah.
Like he just about got thrown over the fence, but he gets up and laughs and carries on, and then just gets on with it. He loves it.
He would be in the top 3 for Brownlow, if not lead. I mean, Dacos probably lead it, but they probably haven't won enough games. But he's got a sneaky chance to win the Brownlow. He's got 3 votes again today.
Yeah.
Well, remember last year, obviously, he won the Coaches Award, which is a bloody prestigious award. Coming into today, he was sitting 5th in the Coaches Award. Noah Anderson and Nick Dacos on 69. He's on 62. You'd think he's probably going to get 9 or 10 votes today from the 2 coaches. So he is backed up that year, and his stocks coming into next year are just huge. He could write his own cheque.
And he missed the first month of footy too, with an injury. He's like, I know they signed Bergman for 2 years, which is fantastic, because the word was that he was leaving. I can't see how you can not let Zach Butters go, but they have to re-sign him. They just have to. Like, he is a generational player. Like, he's in the top 3 players in the competition. Like, for him to walk out the door, I know they'll get a lot back. We know that. But I don't know if you're getting anything like Zach Butters back through the door.
Hypothetically, what could he make a year? What's the highest paid player in the AFL at the moment? What are we talking?
That's a good question.
Speculation.
Well, if Tom De Koning signs for St Kilda, it's 1.7 million
a year.
That's the money.
He could be more. Yep. He could be close to $2 million a year.
What did they offer Callaghan?
Supply and demand.
Something like 1.5.
Yeah, it was around that.
So that's probably market.
I would make this point. St Kilda openly know they have to go well over the odds to try to get players there. But if you're just looking straight, what's the most players? Well, all the talk is 1.7 million's been offered to Tom De Koning.
If Zach Butters has 17 clubs that want him, his price, it could be anything.
Well, Well, you think the Saints could lose Nazai Wanganeen-Miller, so there's a lot of money they've still got to spend. Bulldogs and Saints obviously have been mentioned, and it is, you're right, 1.7 is the number that keeps getting thrown around, which is, Josh, it's a little different, isn't it, to what you and Brogues are running around. It's astounding.
The thing with Zach Butters is he's a winner. Like, wherever he goes, he'll want to see, well, what does the next 5 years look like? Because he wants to win. He's a winner. And so he's not going to go to a club that's probably way off winning a flag. I think in the back of his mind, part of his decision-making would be, what's my best chance to win a flag? Yeah. Yes, the money helps, and I think he's going to get wherever... He's going to get paid pretty well no matter where he goes, but whatever club he does go to, if he's not at Port Adelaide, it will be a club that you would think is contending, and I really hope he stays around for another 2 years.
Sorry, just to quit the thing, if you're looking at Adelaide, the Crows, if you put Zach Butters in their team, they'd win the flag.
Easy.
That's how important he is, or how good a player he is.
Well, they don't win today if Zach Butters.
No, I don't want to imagine that. I know what you're going to say. I don't want to imagine that.
Maybe he goes, I'm not going to go home to Victoria. I'm going to stay in Adelaide, but I'm going to cross Tapley's Hill Road and line up with the Crows. I'd tear the joint down.
But if you could pick the right side, as you said, and he sort of jettisoned him into that side, wow.
They would have been, what were they down, 25 points? They'd have been another 3 goals down if he hadn't had that performance in that
It's
first
interesting you said Ken Hinkley got on him at quarter time. He was the best player on the ground. He's an absolute superstar. Love watching him play.
Mark Soderstrom, run through some of the other numbers that stand out for us. Full-time here, West Coast were valiant, but Port too good. 12-15-87 to the Eagles, 9-7-61 in front of over 30,500 fans. Port by 26 points, so we'll get some of the numbers and then we'll get the votes in the ABC Footballer of the Year and the Christian Medal, and then hopefully we'll go down into the Eagles rooms and see if we can get someone as well.
Well, looking individually, Jason Horne-Francis, we've touched on this. He only had the 2 touches to start in the first term, so he's ended up with 27 for the game, and he went inside 50 over and over again 9 times, which was quite remarkable. Ollie Wines was outstanding. We sort of said that he snuck under the radar in terms of his clearance work. He had 10 clearances, and he was brilliant with his 25 touches. Richards, obviously, he had 2-3, but he got 23 touches as well. So he was showing the work he can do. He had 7 tackles, and we always talk about Harley Reid's tackling, and it really stands out. He had 7 tackles as well, but so did Richards, and that really showed where he's at. Kane Farrell for Port Adelaide had 598 metres gained on that beautiful left foot. So lots of opportunities there. For West Coast, well, probably their best player was Harry Edwards. He was honest. He took 11 marks. A lot of those were intercept marks. There was a lot of ball coming down there, because that inside 50 count in the end ended up 52-46 the way of Port Adelaide. Harley Reid had 27, Duggan 21. McCarthy again, I think, what's he had? 31, 29, 19 and now 21 today to start his career, and he has been some sort of find. And we've got to say, the way that they have, Clint, been able to use that mid-season draft over the last 3 years with Marrick, with Hutchison and also with McCarthy has been quite remarkable. So hats off, because they've all come from VFL clubs. Hats off to the Eagles recruiting staff to find those 3 mid-season.
Well, they really needed to try and bolster their team, and again, they're going to have to go heavily back to the draft. I'd like to get the outsider's point of view, just while we're talking about West Coast, and unfortunately, sorry Eagles fans, I should have warned Braden, West Coast will always stick stringently to the 20 minutes post-game rule, so we've missed out on an Eagles interview. From what you guys have seen, really simplistic, you mentioned about their midfield, which I agree with, but do they need a better quality ruck? Because I think Flynn battles away, and I think Bailey J. Williams absolutely battles away. But I think if West Coast are going to take a step forward in the next 2 or 3 years, they need to find a quality ruck from somewhere.
Well, yeah, they do. I know Flinny pretty well. He's at the Giants. Great kid, honest kid, but he's a good backup on your list. He's not a number 1 ruck. I think they obviously do. It's just where do you find them? Like, where do you go out and get a number 1 ruck? You got to pay them. How much do you want to pay them? Like, they're talking Draper from Essendon's gettable. He's obviously coming off an Achilles, but do they go out and spend $1 million on a ruck, or do you start? I reckon it's the last piece you add in once you're got your midfield sorted, and other pieces. I think ruckman, you could probably develop one.
The The Lloyd Meeks are hard to find. The ones who just are sitting away playing in the State League and think, I cannot get a run ahead of the guy who's number one, and I'll look for an opportunity elsewhere. And I saw him again last night. I know Hawthorn lost, but he's outstanding. And they're not... There are a few about, but he's the sort of someone they need to go, who isn't being utilised?
Yeah. There's Soldo here in Port Adelaide. Like, he can't get a game here. He's probably third in line now. You know, is he available to hold up the post for them for a couple of years? Like, he's not the greatest ruckman, but he's probably a little bit better than Flinny. He's played in flags with Richmond. Is he someone that you go, can you come in for 2 years while we build our midfield around? I don't know. You do. You go look at lists and you go see, well, he's the third sort of banana ruck on the list. He's not getting a game. I don't think you go out and you spend all your money on a ruck. I think they need actually midfielders, and they need them in a hurry because most weeks they're getting slaughtered through the midfield. Tim Kelly is a shell of himself now. He's not an elite midfielder.
Did have a reasonable game in the Waffle, by the way, yesterday. 27 disposals, 4 inside 50s, 2 goals. Yeah. And you're just hoping, if you're a West Coast supporter, that Kelly can find the enjoyment back in football that he had a couple of years ago when he, even in a team that finished at the bottom of the ladder, still was able to win the club champion award, the best and fairest at West Coast. But maybe going back and getting his hands on the footy, he might start to be re-energised.
Yes, and my take, going back to the ruck conversation, my take on a ruckman is, you don't realise how important they are until you don't have a good one. And look, it is hard to go out, and if your focus from a list management perspective is to go out and get some quality mids and build a midfield around, you know, like a Harley Reid if he happens to stay, then you don't go out and spend a mozza on a gun ruckman. Get someone who's serviceable. And you look at someone like a Vicentini. Would he be gettable? You know, you probably have to pay him overs to get him there, but he's shown to be able to play serviceable football at AFL level. Do you go out and get someone like that, and then also bring in young guys that you can develop and hope they mature into quality ruckman in the future? But yeah, look, it's an interesting one. Flynn's probably not the answer long term, but. Yeah, you wouldn't be going.
It wouldn't have mattered today if you had Polly Farmer out there rucking. Their midfield's just not good enough.
No,
and
I agree with
that. They need some good mids, and then you start to go, well, what sort of ruckman's going to help this mid? You know, because they're all different, aren't they? The rucks. You know, you've got Big O'Brien at Adelaide. He's just a serviceable ruckman for their midfield. Does a good job. We look at Sweet. Gets a lot of hit outs. Good for Port Adelaide. Like, he's a good ruckman.
As we saw at Brisbane last year, your ruck doesn't have to be outstanding if you've got guns around them.
And it's interesting, I spent 4 years at Sydney and we had Mike Pike. Now, if you talk quality ruckman over the last 20 years, he probably doesn't even come in the conversation, but he was so critical to the way that they played. Now, they had the midfield around him that he became predictable. He wasn't a superstar, but a very serviceable, good quality ruckman that made it predictable to the mids, and that's potentially what they need.
They're hard to find, and that's why clubs just don't let them go. I remember at Port, Josh, you know, we always used to have 4 or 5 on the list. Probably 4 on the list and then 1 as a rookie.
And it takes time to develop as well.
It takes time.
Oh, look at Tim English. How long did it take him to become a bona fide?
4 or 5 years.
It did, didn't it? Yeah. And now he's an absolute star, but they do take time.
And they play forever too. You know, you look at Grundy, he's in his 30s, playing well at Sydney, so they're really hard to find. And, you know, West Coast have been known to have good ruckmen. It was, you know, Dean Cox, Nat Nui, who are nightmares to play against, but they do. So the short answer is yes, they do need to get a ruck, but it's not priority. I don't think it is.
Let's get the votes in the ABC Football of the Year, and because I'm in town, I can actually ask you straight up for the votes in the Christian Medal, which is a 3-2-1 for West Coast. So let's see how you go with that as well, just to make things more challenging.
Well, maybe, Brogues, I'll handball you that one.
Yeah, all right.
I might need help with the one vote, because I'm legitimately unsure. So Butters, I think, clear best on ground. I reckon Jason Horne-Francis 2 votes. And then I'm trying to get Harley Reid in there. We talked about Joe Richards was outstanding, kicked 2 goals, 3. Georgiades had 9 shots on goal. So I need some help.
I'm not sure you can put Harley in there.
I don't think so.
No, not based on the clearance numbers, although he did have 6 clearances. He's had 7 tackles, 6 inside 50s, 533 metres gains, and he had 3 shots on goal.
What were his frees against, though? That's an interesting one.
Yeah, that did hurt.
So did you have Butters 3?
Yes.
Sorry, I wasn't listening.
Horn Francis 2.
How's that for a little
What about Richards? We just pumped up Richards.
Yeah, I'm with Richards.
No, that's my point.
Yeah, I think Richards is the one. Yeah. But Harley was good. Like watching him live.
Yeah. Sorry, West Coast fan. I was trying to get one in for you.
No, I would be happy for Harley Reid to get the 3 votes in the Christian medal. No issue, but I just don't think he's got a spot in the top 3. That's where I see. What do you? You sat out of this. You need.
I'm with you. No, I think Richards. It was not just his goal sense and his defensive work. He still got a lot of the footy, and he was clean.
Georgiades?
9
shots on goal.
9 shots.
Yeah,
that's a
that's standard now.
I was going to say, if you kicked 7 of them, then...
Well, if he had to kick 9, you could have given him 3 or given him 2 behind Butters. But, look, Butters was terrific. Horn Francis, outstanding.
So let's make it official. 3 votes to Butters, 2 to Horn Francis, and 1, which I'm voting for, Richards gets the 1 vote. Yeah. So what about the Christian medal, the 3-2-1 for the West Coast Eagles?
So I think for Edwards has to... Edwards...
So who was Edwards on?
He was on Lukosius.
Lukosius for the night, yeah.
He smashed him, yeah.
You're happy about that, even despite one of the moments of the match, which I'm sure he'll replay at 3 a.m. in the morning?
I think that would have nutmegged anybody. That would have definitely got me.
big unit to get down as and brogues. You would have punched the goalpost.
Oh, they are moments where you see that for defenders and you think, at 3 a.m. he'll be staring at the ceiling and go, how did I not get a touch on?
You know what he should have done? He should have actually tried to con the umpire.
Yeah, said he touched it.
Yeah. I don't know, 'cause surely the goal umpire would have said, surely he touched that. And he would have, I don't know.
It was an awful moment, but to have 11 marks in those conditions, and he smashed Lukosius. I thought he was their best. I thought Harley Reid was their second best. I thought he was sensational. He's on his way. I think he had 24 last week as well. He's starting to show what he can really do consistently. Now, this is where I'll need help.
Baker?
Baker was good. He was really good in the first half, but probably Baker.
Yeah,
I thought he was.
I thought he was good. Yeah.
All right, so for the Christian medal back home, Edwards, Reid and Baker. Gents, we're out of time. It's been great fun. I hope Aaron goes on more holidays during the middle of the footy season so I can jump in from time to time.
When do you get Razor Ray on?
Razor Ray's on Monday nights on Extra Time on ABC Sport Digital at, I'm just trying to get about 9:50 Eastern, so it's at 9:20 over here.
Yep. I'd like an answer to the Travis Boak advantage.
I'll be asking that one. Thanks very much for your company, everyone. Wrapping it up, West Coast by 26 points. They lost. Port Adelaide, too good. The Eagles, goodness me, they gave it a shake. But Port, they stay in the finals hunt for 2025. Thanks for your company from Adelaide Oval.